everybody. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Oh, what will we talk about today? Well, let's start it out. Let's start it out with the Phillies. All right, they win last night. They sweep. They have the best record in the league. The opposing freaking manager even apologized to them as he serves a one-game suspension. The injured players will be back soon. Things are all good in Philly world. Ranger Suarez. Nick Castellanos hits a 2-run homer yesterday after he got plunked the day before. Weston Wilson with a game-winning chopper. Ranger Suarez. But we're all good. Bill Colarulo is here. Ray Dunn is here. Listen, I'm just kind of tweaking. I'm perfectly content with where the Phillies are right now. You know, they're doing this kind of thing with all kinds of injuries, all kinds of displacements from the lineup. And they have the best record in the league. We had two weeks ago we were talking about, oh my God, they may lose to the Braves. The Braves are coming from behind. They're going to take the division. The Phillies might not even get the bye. You remember those days, Bill? You were one of those guys, I think.
No.
I think so.
I was never worried about the Braves. My concerns still exist. And you're right. Look, I don't want to be negative Nelly today. The Phillies are playing great baseball in spite of all of these injuries. They now have a National League lead, and they have the tiebreaker, so in essence, it's a 2-game lead. But my concerns still exist, and it's what you kept alluding to right there when you kept saying Ranger Suarez. Because we just don't know what we're going to have on the mound come postseason.
That's fair. Hey, yeah. Right out of the chute, I'm being fair with you, even though your spin on bread, taking bread home, repulsed me yesterday, and we'll get to the poll that we put up there.
Oh, I can't believe it.
And I got another food beef coming up a little later. But the Ranger Suarez thing is a big deal. It's not a big deal now because the Phillies are going to coast to that division title. They're going to get a bye, as I've been saying for a really long time now when people were all freaked out. They're still going to be number 1 and number 2, and they are. But then you get to the playoffs, and you got to now cover your butt. And I'm telling you, the longer this goes on, he'll have 3 starts left. The longer this goes on, the more the Phillies are going to have to change their mindset and have Christopher Sanchez in a Ranger spot and may even have to pitch him at home as the number 2 starter. I'm thinking, I know that Rob Thompson is reluctant to make moves like that, but I think he's smart enough to figure that out, that would be the best move to benefit the team.
When you look at the numbers, it would make a lot of sense to move Sanchez up to the 2, have him pitch at the bank. Nola, no problem on the road.
Did he do that with the Houston series 2 years ago?
I looked at it.
Did he have Nola pitch in Houston?
I looked at it, and I couldn't tell because he did pitch Game 3. Nola pitched Game 3 a couple of times in the postseason, and I didn't know, and maybe Ray can answer this, I didn't know if it was intentionally done or if that was just the way the
who would have been
pitching
the 2?
rotation.
Who would have been the 2? I think he did hold him back, if I remember correctly, because he wanted him to pitch on the road.
It's very possible, and when you look at the numbers, that he may have done this with Nola, which would make a lot of sense this year because Sanchez...
Did he have Suarez as his 2? Did he pitch Suarez at home? I think something happened. We'll figure out what happened. But anyway, the Phillies right now are in... I'm astounded that the manager of the Blue Jays would apologize to him. The Rays. I always get those two confused. One's in Toronto, one's in Tampa Bay. They couldn't be further apart.
Start with the T.
Right. So, listen, if I'm Kevin Cash, classy thing to do. If I'm a player, I don't give a flip. I'll be honest with you. That's where I was coming from. The players, they don't care. They're not going to apologize to anybody. But the manager, I guess he figures that Rob Thompson's a classy guy, and so we'll apologize. And Bryce Harper is one of the most respected players in the league. He got all hot and bothered. You never want to be on Bryce's bad side. So I guess that was the apology.
I think this brings us back to our argument yesterday that I don't think it was just baseball. I don't think that's a way to stand up for your team, to throw at a guy when you just are frustrated that you're losing. So I think that they acknowledged that it was the wrong thing to do.
I think it was great. And they took the suspension for it. And I bet you every player on there is going, yeah, good.
How's it good?
It's just good for the player. And this is what you don't understand. The player looks at that getting kicked around, getting their ass kicked. They're out there. in enemy territory, getting their ass kicked. And the guy does that as a little fight back. I'm telling you, player's mentality. Have you heard one player say that's wrong? No.
Well, they're not going to. Everybody on the Phillies said it was wrong.
Well, of course they did. Everybody on the Phillies said it's wrong because it was done to them. But I'm telling you that those Rays players thought that was good.
I don't think they would. Okay. I think if you gave them truth serum, every player on the Rays would say it was ridiculous that it's a 4-4 game. You give up 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th, so you throw it a guy because you're a loser.
You grow up in baseball. You grow up in baseball with the exact opposite mentality.
What, but if you get hit around, you have a hissy fit, you throw it a guy? Come on.
Because it may look primitive to you, and it is primitive, but it's a way to fight back against you getting your ass kicked. And players like that. I'm telling you, they like it. All right, let's move on to the main hub of this show today. And the main hub, I hate when we have to wait an extra day for a football game. And so all we have during the week are coordinators that speak, Nick Sirianni that speaks. And I don't think we paid enough attention to what Fangio said yesterday about Bryce Huff. The juxtaposition of what he said about Baun in contrast to what he said about Huff kind of put a red light on. There's an on-air light here, but there's also a red light. The red light went on. That Fangio is sending a message, maybe to his general manager. The guy I endorsed is Baun. The guy you traded for is not up to my standards. Did you interpret that the same way?
Really, 2 guys that the general manager signed. Because it's not only Bryce Huff not being up to his standards.
Devin White.
It's Devin White, too. And look, let's go back, Mike, because I've said a lot that I felt that Howie Roseman, and let me get this out of the way first. Howie Roseman is a great general manager. I'm not saying that he should lose his job. I'm not calling for him to be replaced. But he struggles at evaluating defensive talent. And you go back to last season. That defense was terrible. I know Nick Sirianni gets a lot of blame. The offense gets a lot of blame. The defense was terrible. I'm going to read all the free agent signings that Howie Roseman made last season. This was before the 23 season. Cornerback Greedy Williams, cut. Safety Justin Evans, finished on IR. Safety Terrell Edmonds had to get traded in the middle of the season because he was terrible. Linebacker Nicholas Morrow ended up getting cut, put on the and having to play out of necessity. Defensive tackle, linebacker Zach Cunningham. Linebacker Miles Jack, retired after you signed him. Cornerback Josiah Scott. Linebacker Shaq Leonard. That were all of the defensive acquisitions that Howie Roseman made.
Howie don't know defense? Is that what you're saying?
Howie don't know defense.
Howie don't know defense.
It gets even worse. Look at the draft picks over the last few years. And I've gone through this list. You got to go all the way back to 2018 for the last time that Howie Roseman drafted a player that wasn't a defensive tackle that's had a huge impact. That would have been Josh Sweat. Every other season, they don't contribute. Now, maybe he got it right this year with Quinyon Mitchell, which, let's face it, he fell to them. Quinyon Mitchell fell
yes, he did.
To them.
Yeah.
Did he get it right with Cooper DeJean? We'll find out. Did he get it right with Jalix Hunt? Well, the guy didn't dress. You expected that, but he was a third-round draft pick. Did he get it right with Jeremiah Trotter Jr.? But you look at the history of Howie Roseman, there are far too many misses on the defensive side of the football. And last year, we blamed the coordinators. We blamed Desai. We blamed Patricia. It was personnel-related.
Yeah. Well, does this taint the Howie legacy? I mean, he's Howie Hero in this town. I think you're kind of the only person that's brought up this whole little angle about his defensive miscues. So I'm wondering how Eagle fans feel about that. Then they're not going to feel that bad about it right now because it was one game. And this will take a while to sink in with Eagle fans that maybe he's not the greatest defensive drafter. So what we have right now is a 1-0 team. But I want to play what Fangio had to say. Ray Dunn with us, of course, today, producing the program. Fangio was asked about a Huff, and while he didn't go all in, he went enough in for you to get a message. So let's hear what he said. Originally, he was asked about Bryce Huff, where he said he was improving.
He's improving. Obviously, we all had a play or two. I had a call or two that could have been better, but he's improving in that area.
All right. So now there's a little follow-up question about Huff, and he says this.
What's Bryce need to do to play more?
Just separate himself from the other guys.
Separate himself from the other guy. Very short and sweet and to the point. He's not separating himself from the other guys. This was your main acquisition. Hassan Reddick's no longer here. This is the guy that's supposed to take the slack of that, right?
It is. And this isn't the first time we've heard Fangio be a little critical. It's been going on since minicamp, preseason, training camp. He keeps saying that Bryce Huff isn't doing enough to get the reps that you thought you were going to give him when you let Reddick go to the Jets. And you signed him. It's one game, Mike. I don't want to overreact to it. But if Bryce Huff, because let's look at another one of these guys, Nolan Smith. I've said it before. I don't have a lot of faith in Nolan Smith. That's a Howie Roseman draft pick. If those two guys don't generate pressure on the opposing quarterbacks, you're going to have some issues with this defense. So I think you're right with Fangio. I think he's sending a little bit of a message here to Bryce Huff.
All right. Well, we're going to take our first break of the show here. And I just want to give a warning for all you men out there who may be engaged in some amorous activity. Just make sure your IG is off, right? Because Shay got a little nook, and it became viral. We'll talk about that as well a little bit later. It's very interesting. 610-632-0975 is how you climb into the show. It's the Mike Missanelli Show, a Thursday show, special Thursday show. Make history with us. We're back. 17, Mike Missanelli. People are fighting back, which I thought. It's tough to criticize Howie Roseman right now for anything, really, right? So the chat board or YouTube, the people that are tuning in right away are giving the counter argument. Bill, what are they saying?
So some people are agreeing with us that he's missed too many times on defense, but other people are trying to make the argument, well, look, he signed Darius Slay, he got him here, he got Reed Blankenship here. They're using Nakobe Dean as an example of a good draft pick.
Not yet.
Not yet, exactly. Yeah, I haven't seen enough. Yet. I haven't seen enough from Nakobe Dean. But it's...
Blankenship was a find.
Blankenship was a find, and he was undrafted. I think he's actually a lot better than some people give him credit for. I do like him. But if you look at it, you can't miss as many times as Howie misses. And it's not just in the draft. It's also in free agency. It's also trades. He's made trades that haven't worked out on defense as well.
Yeah, he also didn't sign CJ.
Last year.
Yeah. When a lot of people thought that would have been a necessary sign because he was a load to pay him, $10 million that he wanted.
And what did he do instead? He signed James Bradbury. How did that work out last year?
It didn't work out.
So, I mean, you look at last year's defense, you could put that squarely on the shoulders of Howie Roseman. And everybody blames Desai and Patricia. Everybody blames Nick Sirianni for losing the team. That defense last year was on Howie. And it's only 1 week this year. I'm not going to overreact to 1 week, but there were some alarming things. And one of them was Bryce Huff not getting more reps than a 35-year-old Brandon Graham. Are you serious?
Yeah, that should never happen. It really shouldn't. I mean, that's indicative that a defensive coordinator doesn't like a player. And then, he tried to snow you with, Brandon Graham he's not on a retirement year, but he really didn't do anything in that game.
Who, BG?
Yeah.
He was okay. Look, he played okay. Here's the issue, though, Mike. The issue is what's going to happen week 10, week 11, week 12 if you start relying on Brandon Graham to play that many reps. You keep relying on Josh Sweat to play that many reps because last season, first of all, Brandon Graham only played, I think, about 35% of the snaps all year last year. Josh Sweat, when you asked him to play 800, the guy hit a wall. He went 8 straight games to finish the season without a sack. You can't do that again this year. So you need 2 of Howie Roseman's acquisitions, Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith, who you drafted last year in the first round. They have to contribute. It's only 1 week.
Let's be clear about this. They don't have a defensive end who is, quote-unquote, relentless. They don't have the relentless guy. Like, you look at other teams that really get heat on the quarterback. They've got motor guys that are relentless that try to get to the quarterback. The Eagles don't have that guy. I mean, Josh Sweat's not that guy. He had a successful year a couple of years ago, but he's not that relentless guy. They were thinking that Huff would be that guy. If the defensive coordinator's down on him, well, that's problematic.
Well, you look at last week, Falcons, who the Eagles are going to play on Monday night. They only put up 10 points, but a main reason why was because the Steelers do have that relentless guy. Yeah. They got maybe the best defensive player in the NFL in T.J. Watt. Not saying that everybody can have a T.J. Watt, but they're going to – you saw the pressure T.J. Watt got on this offensive line last week against the Falcons.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles better get pressure on Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, Micah Parsons, relentless. Bosa, really, the good teams will have that guy.
Yes. Hold on, and people in the YouTube chat are supporting our argument, reminding me of some other bad Howie Roseman defensive moves.
Okay.
Trading for Robert Quinn. You remember that one from 2 years ago?
That was a bust.
Terrible.
He was done.
Trading for Kevin Byard last year. That didn't work out.
No.
So he does miss. Very good general manager. I'm happy he's the Philadelphia Eagles GM. He's got to get better with the defensive prospects.
Those last 2 guys were desperation moves. They really were. And
yes.
And those teams that were willing to let those guys go are telling you something. That they're willing to let them go.
I remember last year when they made the trade for Kevin Byard. And all of the tweets and all the reports were, why do the Tennessee Titans continue to trade with Howie Roseman? He gets them every time.
Yeah.
They won that trade.
They certainly did. We were won over by that local angle with him, and then all of a sudden it just petered out. All right, so let's then now here's the contrast. The defensive coordinator loves some Zack Baun.
He does.
Okay, so let's hear Ray. Let's hear what he had to say. Let's go. Vic Fangio 5.
When I watched his play at New Orleans, like I think I said to you guys before, the way they adjusted their defense in New Orleans, on occasion he would end up as an inside linebacker, not very often. And from those few plays, I thought he could do it. Was I going to bet my life savings on it? No, but I had a good feeling that he could do it, and he can. And he's got the versatility to, from his experience of being an on-the-line guy, to use that with him also. I think he'll just keep getting better and better.
So how do defensive coordinator, how do they have the time to look at other teams, what other teams are doing, players that they're doing? Like, doesn't he have enough on his plate with them in Miami? Like, how much would he have scouted Baun?
Well, I would assume it was once he got hired here. Knowing that Zack Baun was going to be a free agent, I'm assuming he looked at some film and said, "Hey, we can convert this guy to an off-ball linebacker." And notice how many times he said "I" in that clip.
Yeah,
not me and Howie.
No,
not we evaluated Zack Baun. I noticed it.
A guy like Fangio has been around enough to go, I'll tolerate a GM, but this is my baby. This is like,
yes,
like a Buddy Ryan type of mentality.
There's no doubt in my mind when you look at Howie Roseman's history of drafting linebackers and signing linebackers that he would not have the wherewithal to be able to identify a guy who barely played off-ball linebacker in Zack Baun and say, "Oh yeah, he's going to be the answer." That was a Vic Fangio signing. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hear from Fangio again because he had more to say about Baun.
Yeah, it can have that effect. Definitely. The more versatile guys you have, the better off you are.
All right. So
yeah, he likes himself some Zack Baun.
He likes him because he can play him in different areas and the whole bit. So all right. So that's all good. So what else are we looking at now with the Eagles? If they go into Game 2, where do they stand right now in your mind and in the mind of the fans? Because a lot of people are like laying back, and I'm even laying back because I don't really know. I was on the Fox show last night. They asked me the same question. I go, "About a holding pattern?" Like I don't know. I saw they beat a pretty good team. They did enough to win, but I still can't figure out what they are.
Wait, the late night show?
Late night show.
I missed it.
Yeah, I got.
With whom? Jason Martinez? Is that who does it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Breland Moore.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, so I didn't get in, and then of course they're redoing the Schuylkill. So that after midnight is when all the workers are out there. They're repaving it.
I don't know who was out later last night. You were right.
I didn't get home till 1:30.
Wow. He had you beat, I think, right?
Yeah, 1:30 because I was in traffic for like a half an hour trying to get back home off the Schuylkill. I'm glad to see they're doing that. But both my exits were closed down.
That's
the exits that I would get off, like Girard Avenue and then Montgomery Avenue, and I had to go all the way down to City Line Avenue and then backtrack.
Well, you dealt with it last night. I dealt with the traffic this morning, man. It took me forever to get
Well, because you should move to civilization, first of all. Like, you're out, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
I had to take my kids all the way to school and then backtrack back.
You're a Jersey guy. What do you expect?
Yeah, you got to get over to Jersey.
No, I don't have to get over to Jersey. You have to get over to civilization.
We got a lot of good things going on in Jersey these days.
Of course you do.
I do miss living in the city.
You got Olive Garden.
I do miss living in the city.
All the bread you want.
That's right. All the bread you want.
All the bread you want. And by the way, on the bread conversation, we'll get back to it after the break, but people have also asked us to clarify what kind of bread. Because there's certain places that give you the pizza bread, they give you the garlic bread. You're leaving that too, Mike, even though it's on the table?
Yes.
Ridiculous.
I'm not taking bread home, all right? In fact, I was exchanging with a guy on Twitter last night, and he was going, "Well, I need bread. I'll take the bread." I go, "I'll tell you what. I'll buy you a damn loaf of bread. I'll bring it to your house. How about we do that?" I got another beef, by the way, based on the breakfast that was left out for us.
All right, we got a lot to talk about coming up. The Eagles and Mike's food issues.
610-632-0975. Back after this. Hey, it's the Mike Missanelli Show, 610-622-0975. You know, we get so many side topics here because, let's face it, side topics are very entertaining. And sometimes, we don't plan them sometimes. We just kind of evolve into them. When the sports conversation is not at a white-hot level, you talk about other stuff. And I think this show is very listenable as it comes to that, right?
Listenable. That's a word, right?
Listenable. I just made it up. But let me just add another little layer to this whole thing. Because yesterday at Bread Conversation, I got so much feedback on the Bread Conversation. Twitter was like crazy. No, you take the bread. I can't believe you don't take the bread, Mike. And then we put a poll up, and what did the poll say?
So I put a poll on my Twitter yesterday. I really thought it was going to come in 100%. People take the bread. I said, is it a violation to also take the bread home with any leftovers at a restaurant? Surprisingly, only 63% take bread and leave the damn bread on the table. 0 cents.
63%. It tells me 63% are gauche barbarians. That's what it tells me. 63% are whacked.
No, you take it.
Right?
You said you take the bread, right?
Yep.
Right?
He's 24 years old. He's got three nickels in his pocket.
He's taking bread from the other table,
all
too.
the bread you can get.
Hey, you guys taking that food home? I could take your meal,
exactly.
too.
So here's the other thing. We sometimes get sandwiches delivered here. The morning show, one of our great sponsors, Wendy's, will bring some breakfast sandwiches, right?
Yes.
So I come in today. I'm really hungry. I didn't have any. I got up late. Obviously, I didn't get much sleep last night, getting in late. So I didn't have time to grab something to eat. I just had a little coffee. I come in. I go, man, I hope there's some food in here. We come in there. There's bags. I go, oh, Wendy's bags. They're breakfast sandwiches. Every freaking sandwich or wrap has to have egg in it. Every breakfast sandwich, every breakfast wrap, I pick it up. There it is. So, scrambled eggs all over the place, spilling out on the table.
How do you not like eggs?
It's irrelevant to why I don't like eggs.
Well, first of all, you said breakfast sandwiches. What do you want to have them?
Leave the egg out.
It's a breakfast sandwich.
Leave the egg out. Can you realize that there are people that don't in this world that don't like eggs? Why are you assuming that everybody is an egg man? The prejudices that I have had to endure as a non-egg man my entire life have been immense. I go into Wawa. I go, you said the breakfast sandwiches are right there by the counter. You got any non-egg? They look at me like I have three heads, and then I get profiled. Like I get profiled as a non-egg man. It's like I'm walking around with scarlet letters, N-E, on me.
What is it with the egg that you don't like?
The smell of it, I can't stand. The smell leads to your taste buds. It's not appealing to me, and I just don't like the taste. I don't like the texture.
Is it only
when I was a kid? It's funny because on Fridays. My mom wasn't Catholic. My dad was. So on Fridays, no meat thing, and she would make an Italian specialty, peppers and eggs.
Oh, I love peppers and eggs.
Without regard to me. My whole life I've been going through this.
You know what's really good? You take the peppers and eggs, you put it in the bread you took from the restaurant the night before.
Oh, pepper and egg.
Delicious.
Pepper and egg this. All right?
Well, let me ask you.
The point is, I don't like eggs. There is a semblance of the population that does not like eggs. Why do people assume that every breakfast sandwich has to have eggs?
Because it's
breakfast. I have to
breakfast.
special order a damn sausage and cheese on an English muffin or a bagel.
Because that's just the way it is, Mike. Now, wait, you have a problem with eggs. You like chicken cutlets. You're not dipping them in the egg?
I dip it in the egg. That's different. That's not pure egg. That's just something to coat the breadcrumbs.
So you're okay with it in that situation?
I put an egg in my meatloaf to make the meatloaf solidify. I do all that stuff. I am not eating pure egg. But that's not the point on why I don't like eggs. That should be irrelevant to you.
Well, here's
why
the issue.
I don't eat eggs.
Here's the issue.
What should be relevant to you, because we need to fix the world, is that you should be in support of the non-egg people.
So you want Wendy's to deliver us a bunch of sandwiches and not put egg in half of them?
Is it too hard to do that? It's one less step, for crying out loud. You don't have to get the egg. You don't have to fry the egg. Just put the sausage and cheese in the sandwich. Wrap it up. End of story.
Why can't you just take the egg out of the sandwich?
Because then it's egg tainted. It's egg-tainted. Now here's the thing. I have occasionally done that. The only time I've done that, I looked at there. It's an amalgam of egg that's melted within the tortilla or the croissant, which they serve, right? So you can't separate that. At McDonald's with an Egg McMuffin, sometimes you can separate it. And sometimes when I go specifically 2 sausage McMuffins with no egg.
They still put it.
I get the bag. I roll out because nobody really checks the bag. You go out. I'm on the road. I go, oh, there it is. There's an egg. I got an Egg McMuffin, not the sausage McMuffin without egg. So that egg is hard enough like a hockey puck that you could just lift it off, and then I scrape off the egg fragments.
That's a nasty egg.
But here I can't do that.
But
see, these are the important issues that I think we need to discuss to make the world a better place, a more harmonious place. Why should I be prejudiced against because I don't like egg?
Well, Jason S. checking in on YouTube.
I get profiled. I'm telling you.
And I'm with Jason on this. How can it be a breakfast sandwich without eggs? It makes absolutely no sense.
You don't have to have freaking egg for breakfast. Do you eat cereal for breakfast? Is there egg in that? There's other kind of entree. I eat pancakes. Is there egg in the pancake? It is possible to have breakfast without a damn egg.
So what does the sandwich look like?
He goes just sausage and bread. Basically, you're eating a hamburger for breakfast.
This is what I do for breakfast normally. I buy the Bob Evans sausage in a roll, right? I get the sausage. I flatten it out like a burger. I put it on the grill. I put a cheese on top of it. I toast an English muffin or a bagel. Bang. That's a breakfast sandwich without egg, is it not?
Breakfast burger.
Yeah, it's a breakfast burger.
It's sausage.
So you don't do omelets?
Not a burger. No, I don't do omelets. No.
You're missing out, man.
Why would I do omelets?
Just ask if he does omelets.
It's my favorite thing.
Why do I do omelets?
That's like my favorite breakfast.
I don't eat eggs.
It's like pure egg, the omelet.
Oh, you're crazy.
If he said he was vegetarian, would you ask him if he eats burgers?
You know what I do? Probably 50% of the week, after we're finished our show, I walk across the street, and I get an omelet. I like doing a breakfast omelet at lunchtime. It's great.
I love omelets. You're not really solving his problem.
You're really missing the point here.
Wait, do you do carbonara?
No, I don't do carbonara. No.
Because that has egg in it.
I know. That's why I don't do carbonara.
People are saying it should be a violation for you to give advice on the air anymore.
I grew up with this whole thing where they had the wedding soup, right? And the wedding soup has these egg croutons in it that my grandmother used to make. You know, the egg croutons, and put it on a sheet pan, you cook it, and you get little squares, and it goes in the... And I go, what about me? What about me? My mother used to try to trick me. Another thing from my youth. She would make potato salad. I don't know why people put egg in their potato salad, but they do. So I would always spy the little yellow specks. That's why I don't eat fried rice. The yellow specks are in
some of the best
part.
part.
The yellow specks are in there. So I would go, there's a yellow speck. I see, that's the potato salad with egg. I'm out. So she would try to trick me and only put egg whites in my portion of because she wanted me to have the protein with the egg. So she would get to the hard-boiled egg and use the... And I spied it. I said, are you trying to trick me? Like I'm supposed to look at that and interpret that egg white slice as a potato? How dare you do that to your son?
How dare you do that?
I've been dealing with this all my life.
She's trying to get you some protein. Did something happen as a kid?
People.
But did something happen? Did you have a bad experience with eggs?
I just didn't like it. I tasted it. Ugh. You know, it happens.
You didn't like
hard-boiled egg at Easter. Ugh.
You didn't like in Rocky. You didn't like in Rocky.
Deviled eggs. Yo, God.
What about
Get them away from me? The stink of them.
What about in Rocky when he wakes up, cracks the eggs, drinks it? That wasn't you training for your baseball game?
No, I didn't train. I almost could have done that because I could hold my nose. You can't eat an egg without tasting an egg.
I'm a big egg guy. I have eggs every morning.
I can tell you're a big egg guy.
Yeah.
But again, you're missing my point. Why should I have to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous egg fortune?
I don't know. I think breakfast sandwich, I think egg. So I don't really have this problem.
That's how I feel.
Well, I got it. I got the problem. Now, how are you going to solve it for me? Are you, as the producer of this show, going to call Wendy's and say, hey, you know what?
You're putting a lot on
Mike
what I can
Missanelli
do.
from the Mike Missanelli show. Can you accommodate him? Maybe mixing in a non-egg sandwich?
I could walk down to sales and say, hey, whoever puts in that order.
I'm just saying, the people at Wawa, can you put a sandwich on the rack that's non-egg so I don't have to go over and order a special bing, 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 ding, and would you like a macaroni and cheese or soup with your order? No, I just want the sandwich.
How well do you think it'll sell?
What, the non-egg sandwiches?
Non-egg breakfast sandwich.
You think I'm the only person in America?
No, but I think that's a legitimate question for them.
You think I'm the only person in the Delaware Valley who doesn't like egg on a sandwich?
I think they would tell you that if they had that little thing stacked there, they'd say, hey, you could go over to that machine, type in what you want, and we could get you something without egg over there.
Why would you ignore the non-egg people?
I think they say they have an alternative.
They don't count? Is there some Supreme Court ruling that say that non-egg people are not Americans?
That's not what I said.
No, but if you don't like eggs, to your point, have pancakes, have cereal, have oatmeal. You don't get a breakfast sandwich without an egg. That's why they're not doing it.
Oh, so I'm going to get up. I'm going to mix a batter. I'm going to make myself some pancake. Hey, the whole point of a breakfast sandwich is it's quick. I come in here. Do I see pancakes out there? Were there pancakes out there?
Dude,
what was out there?
We can't even get a coffee pot. We don't have a griddle.
But bags of food. Did you see any pancakes out there? Did you see any
does Wendy's do the silver dollar pancakes? I know McDonald's does it. Maybe they could throw some pancakes.
No, Wendy's doesn't do pancakes.
Someone send me the copy so we can read it for him at this point. I don't know.
If there were pancakes out there with sausage, that would have been a nice accommodation, right? But there weren't. The assumption is that everybody likes eggs, and I can tell people that not everybody likes eggs, all right?
Not everybody likes
Some people are allergic to eggs.
That is true.
I don't happen to like eggs. I don't think I'm allergic to them. I just don't like them. I should have a choice.
So somebody just texted me, and I don't get the reference. It says that Mike is Jack Nicholson from 5 Easy Pieces. Do you get that reference?
I've seen the movie. No, I don't get it. It's since I've seen 5 Easy Pieces.
I've never saw that movie.
Yeah, that's with the Dennis Hopper and Henry Fonda. What's Henry Fonda's kid's name?
Jane?
No, son, Peter Fonda. Yeah, that's like they were the classic. They were like almost the Rat Pack in movies like that.
God, he sent me the YouTube
young
clip.
Jack.
I'll show you at the break because he sent me the YouTube clip.
Okay,
but
there's the other movie with Paul Newman where he ate egg, how many hard-boiled eggs? What was that? Was that movie Paul Newman where he ate the eggs? What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Oh, Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah, Cool Hand Luke. He ate like 1 million eggs in it, right?
It's a great movie.
Well, you remember the egg scene?
Not really.
Don't remember the egg scene? He ate like 1 million eggs in it.
Not really. I don't remember.
Yeah. All right, that's good. We have non-eggsmen. Oh, we have Wild Bill from Kensington checking in.
Hey, hold on. Before you go to Wild Bill,
What?
We have a whole conversation to start the show about Howie Roseman's ability to identify defensive talent.
That's why
nobody weighs in.
That's right.
Mike goes off on his eggs. The phone lines blow up.
You know why? Because this is real life. All people are immersed in real life. Right now, what Vic Fangio feels about Bryce Huff is less important
than eggs.
than the life topic of egg. Wild Bill, what's up, buddy? Wild Bill.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good
What's
Michael,
up? What's
Billy,
up, Wild Bill?
Guy. Good morning.
How you doing?
Good. I am a non-eggsman. I got, on Sundays growing up, you go get a haircut with my dad. He was a non-eggsman. All right.
Well, your dad was a non-eggsman? Well, that's unusual.
When you grow up poor, I think you eat a lot of eggs. You know, they're cheap and they're nutritious.
Uh-huh.
He hated them. So on Sunday, you go for a haircut, and then you go over to the diner and you get a sandwich, Taylor ham and cheese, hard roll, no egg.
See, this is what I have to go through.
McDonald's, get this one. McDonald's, sausage McMuffin, no egg, throw a hash brown on it, and some strawberry jelly. How you like that?
Yeah, I don't do that. I go straight sausage McMuffin, no egg. And let me tell you something. That might be the best bargain in America because you get two of them, and it costs you $2.30 for two of them.
Yeah.
But yet we were the cheap ones for wanting to take the bread home that we paid for at the restaurant.
I didn't care how much they were. They just happened to be cheaper. You throw an egg on there, all of a sudden the value goes up to $2.
And look, man, the bread thing is not about being cheap. You keep using this 10-penny word, gauche. It's not about being cheap. It's about not wanting to be wasteful.
Exactly. There you go.
No, it's going in the trash.
Stop
You
it! You're
take
trying to
home,
get the most.
you sop it up,
Stop!
you
You're trying to
sop
get the
up
most for your
sauce with
money.
it.
You're a cheap ass. You're trying to get the most for your money. Yeah, that belongs to me.
You grow-
Those
you
rolls
grow
are mine.
poor, you don't want to waste it.
They're for my mom.
Stop
goes
it!
in the
There's
trash.
nobody that's thinking that I don't want to waste it. That's an advantage to take home.
The leftovers, I make new sauce and I stop that up with the bread.
It's like going to a Chinese restaurant and taking as much soy sauce and duck sauce as you can.
No.
You're just trying to get the extra value of
Not
it.
comparable.
And then you store it instead of going out to the Acme and buying a little bottle of soy sauce. You got all these packets that you can never open properly. The soy sauce goes all over the place.
I don't think it's
served
comparable.
that bread. I was served that bread.
Exactly.
It was not my choice to go grab those soy sauce packets.
And they're
I
not
was served that bread.
and they're not throwing away those soy packets.
It's why you don't have a girlfriend right now. You're serving bread that you take home from a restaurant.
Yes, you think that's what I do? You think that? No, I like this idea.
You're going to cook her dinner. You're going to bring out the bread, and she's going to go, "Is that leftover bread from the restaurant?"
The idea that I bring a girl on a date back to my place, like, this is bread from last night's date with a different girl. How about you eat this? Come on.
Look at Ray.
Let's have a little bit of logic in this conversation.
Have you ever cooked for a girl?
Yeah.
You have.
I dated a girl for considerable time.
I'm sure you did. The bread you served was the leftover bread that you brought back from what?
Leftover bread's for
Buffalo,
me.
Wild Wings. What?
Leftover bread's for me. I'm not serving leftover bread at my house.
What do you do with the bread when you bring it home? What do you do?
Eat it the next day.
You bring the butter with it too?
No, I got butter in the house.
Oh, you have butter in the house. You don't have bread?
Yeah, not that type of bread.
Okay, so you don't
they
take
dressed
the
up
butter.
the bread.
Just take the bread, but you have your own butter. So
Yeah, I have my own butter.
why not go? I have my own bread and butter.
They
at home.
dressed up that bread. I paid for that bread. They counted in their expenses going into the month. We're going to buy this much bread for the restaurant. Thus, we need to charge this much to make money this month.
See, what I just thought of Ray making dinner. Well, I thought of that commercial where the guy makes dinner for his girlfriend. He makes spaghetti, and what does he serve?
I don't remember this commercial.
He brings the plate over to her. He's serving spaghetti in a paper plate. Now, what? The guy doesn't have a dish in his house?
Yeah, that's a
You know,
violation.
and-
That's a
telling
violation.
me-
And the thing falls. I don't know. This is the way my brain thinks.
The same guy that's against wasting the bread is going to serve stuff on a paper plate?
No,
I don't
it's
own any paper plates.
The commercial.
I clean.
Yeah, he's saying you
The
don't
commercial.
do that.
You said it was the image you got in your head, though.
The image of the commercial, because I heard of you cooking for somebody at home that maybe you would make a mistake like that.
I would
Like
not.
serve a paper plate because you don't have a plate in the house. Do you have plates in the house?
Yeah, I don't have any paper plates because I consider that waste.
Well, there you go.
I consider that waste.
So you have proper silverware?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
There you go.
dishes.
What's the most interesting thing you made for your girlfriend?
Different pasta dishes. I like the shrimp and pasta. Has probably been the one that was the most
shrimp
interesting.
and pasta.
Yeah.
You make your own pasta?
No, I can't go that far.
See, that's why you're lucky that it might come into your life.
Yeah.
Mike's going to teach you.
610-632-0975. We have a text on yesterday's hair flick conversation, by the way. We'll get to that in the 11 o'clock hour. And we'll also talk about Club Shay Shay and his amorous adventure that went live on Instagram yesterday.
Unc has some stamina.
Oh, got some stamina. What are you talking about? Mike Missanelli Show back after this.
This Hosier?
Yes, it is. Look at you. This is Hosier's new song.
I like it. I'll take my whiskey neat.
How about you? How about Bill? All over this tune. This is the first tune that I've assembled that Bill knows.
Oh, it's a new one, that's why.
Oh.
I like this jam.
The Mike Missanelli Show. It's an 11 o'clock hour. And, of course, the 11 o'clock hour these days is brought to you by Grungo Law, your law firm where you need help because of an injury. Pray for peace. Prepare for trial. Grungo, Grungo law.com. Of course, our 10 o'clock hour is brought to you by Window Nation, where you can take advantage of their 50% off all style windows right now. No down payments, no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit Window Nation. Started off this show talking about the Phillies and their sweep. Best record in the league. They're large and in charge right now, to the point where the manager of the opposing team actually had to apologize to him as he sat out a one-game suspension. And then you're getting blue hits from Buddy Kennedy and Cal Stevenson and Weston Wilson, a chopper to send home the winning run. Everything's going great for him right now, Ranger Suarez. But
you didn't mention Alvarado either. He's looking good.
I told you he would come back. It was relief pitchers. You just got to sit back and go, okay, well, all right, they're going through a spell.
But you could see, look, from July 5th to August 25th, 19 appearances, 14 strikeouts, 13 walks, 17 and a third.
He
had a 6.75 ERA.
He goes bad every now and then, but that doesn't mean people bail on these relief pitchers. They're like kickers that missed 2 in a row. Yeah, they're going to come back to like their mechanic, whatever it is. They're going to come back, and besides that, you have no choice. You have no choice but to let them come back.
Yeah, and that's
where the Phillies are right now, and they got the best record in the league, and they got a bunch of guys coming back. So all's going to be good for this team. Now the Eagles, okay, we're in the middle of a week where we have to wait till Monday night for a football game, and so all we have are comments by the coordinators to dice and mince, and so we're mincing today the fact that the defensive coordinator may be down on Howie Roseman's big offseason, one of the two big offseason acquisitions being the defensive end. It was supposed to get heat on the quarterback, who did not get heat on the quarterback, nor did he play more snaps than Brandon Graham, of all people. So this is something to keep your eye on. And in the meanwhile, we have the major important topic of eggs. And people are just lighting it up. And let me just read a tweet I got. My Twitter, by the way, is MikeMiss25. So you can check me out on Twitter. And also, I want to straighten something out with email here. I know a lot of people have tried to email me, listeners here. We've had some kind of gremlin in my email system. So they're trying to straighten it out on why the emails that people are sending me are not getting through. So my email address is simple. It's Mike Miss. Straight out, Mike Miss, no periods in. Mike Miss at bbgi.com. By the end of the day, hopefully they will find the gremlin that is preventing the emails from getting to my inbox.
Do you get our emails?
I get the company emails.
As long as it started from within the company.
Yes, I get those. And I go, wait, this is weird. I'm not getting one email. So I figured something was up, and they found that something was up. So there's some kind of I'm a technophobe. I have no idea. But it turns out that sometimes, like, even the IT guys, they can't figure out what's up.
Now, you may be technophobe, but I do not believe you ever were doing the nasty with Instagram Live accidentally on.
No. And so let's talk about this. We're going to get to the egg calls. First of all, Jose on Twitter gives me this. Mike Miss25, finally, the conversation this society needs to have. Not every breakfast sandwich needs to have eggs. There are non-egg people in this world, and we're constantly being discriminated against. Now, is he trolling me? Because he's got an emoji, a tearing, laughing emoji. Is that a troll, or does he actually believe that?
I think he believes it.
Okay, so that's support.
I think he believes it. But
that's my point.
But there's other people coming at me on Twitter, like D. Roseman, who says, Bill, the most backwards people on earth are the people who don't eat eggs. He's talking about you.
D. Roseman happens to be H. Roseman.
Maybe. Howie Roseman wants us to stay on the He wants us to stay on the egg conversation. He doesn't want me to go back to the fact that he's missed.
So I question
a bunch on
any
defense.
of y'all's dislike of food. Like I couldn't care less what you don't like. At least respect what I don't like. Don't just plunge through life saying I don't count. That's my point. Apparently, I don't count. When Wendy's brings off a bunch of sandwiches, I don't count.
But the definition of a breakfast sandwich, to me, includes an egg. So you're like a guy who goes into a pizza place and doesn't want pizza.
Why is your definition have to be the all end all definition? Like what? Why? Like what? Every breakfast sandwich has to have an egg. Why? What are you? Who are you? You're the emperor?
What, you gonna order a hot dog and say hold the hot dog?
It's not nearly the same thing.
I think it is.
That's the worst argument you can make, and you would lose in court.
I think it's a spot-on argument.
Spot this. Let's go back to the phones. Mike on a cell. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mike.
Yeah, it's Mike from Cosme's. I gotta give you some analytics, Michael, and Bill. More for Bill. You know we do a lot of sandwiches here.
Yeah, yep.
I can't even tell you how many people do not put egg in a breakfast sandwich. I mean, they're facts. I mean, I'll give you 3 reasons, in my opinion. You know, one, obviously, somebody don't like eggs. Eggs also don't hold their heat at all. It's the fastest thing to go cold out of all food. So if you order one, and God forbid you get on a call, 10 minutes later, your eggs are cold. Cold eggs suck. And I like eggs. And the third thing is, from a mess standpoint, you know, like Mike said, you know, you're driving in the car, you don't want crumbles of eggs falling all over the place. It's just easier to house. You know, we could do a ton of scrapple and cheese, bacon and cheese, sausage and cheese. I mean, so that's a real thing.
Yeah, but Mike, you would agree. I'm with you. It's messy if you do the fried egg or the sunny side up egg. If you do a nice, well done fried egg, it's not going to have any issues.
Well, I mean, you know, it also depends how you're eating it too.
I do love the yolk.
Mike, here's
a lot of people, man, and
here's the point. But they have to order it special. And so they come to you and they order special. Well, I'm in a hurry.
You know,
right?
we're the land of choice here, and that's what we give people options.
Exactly.
So we don't cut our nose off.
So when I'm in a hurry, if I pop into a Wawa, why should I be prejudiced against?
Well, I mean, you get what you want.
In this day and age, prejudice against non-egg people?
I'm more worried about the guy that gets grape jelly mayonnaise on an egg sandwich, and then, like, to me, that's a real.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But on the Phillies, real quick, I think Ranger. I mean, he's got me worried on his velo. I think he only hit 92 3 times in the game.
No, it was very noticeable.
You know, when you're a foot short, especially in October, that's not a good combination. Mike, do you think that they should? Let's say they win a couple more in a row and they get really close to where it's like they're not going to screw anything up. Do you like skip him in the rotation one time?
You know, I don't know if that's helpful. I think he's got to pitch to gain velocity. That's the thing. People will tell you, being idle sometimes will help a little bit, but you got to get out there and build up strength. Now, if it's a back and he needs more time to heal, maybe that's the way to go. I don't know, but it's clearly to me he doesn't have the same torso drive that he had, because that's why the velocity's down.
Yeah, I'm concerned with it as well, but I'm with you. I don't think the answer is shutting him down. They're only going to get 3 more starts. It looks like Monday at Milwaukee. Then he'll pitch again against the Mets September 21st, again against the Nationals September 27th. I think you need to see him in these 3 starts so then Rob Thompson can make a decision about what the plan is with the rotation in October. I don't think you just shut him down and hope he comes back.
No, I think he's got to pitch. I think he's got to find sharpness again. He's got to find velocity. The only way you do that is you pitch. So, I don't know.
Now, do you think they need – let's say Ranger Suarez never gets his velocity back. Do you need Ranger Suarez to make a long run in October? Can they do it without Ranger being 100%?
I don't think so.
Neither do I.
610-632-0975. Back after this. On the Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 Fanatic. Reminder, programming note that we will have Nick Sirianni's press conference live at about an hour at 12:10, which means it'll be 12:20. So, but tune in at 12:10 because you never know what's going to happen with the Eagles. I'm still on the record saying they do it on purpose because they can.
I don't like tardiness.
Yeah, well,
I need you to handicap it for me.
And Uncle Jude.
Any reference to? Yeah, that was Uncle Jude.
That's Uncle Jude.
Any reference to high school? His brother Jay.
He may throw a he may throw that in. I look forward to that. Yeah, we should have play drinking game.
Well, if you drank
get through the end of the show,
I'm gonna bring a bottle of Jim Beam.
If you drink every time he says right after a sentence, you'll be hammered.
Yeah, that's another one. All right, so let's go to the Bills. We get to tweet.
Yes,
tweet. There are some tweets.
So Gar with 2 R's. That's his Twitter handle. Tell Mike the demand for eggless breakfast sandwiches at Wawa aren't there. They don't want to waste the product if it's not a demand item. Just like you don't talk flyers because the demand isn't there.
You know, there's a line around the skate zone today to see the first practice of Michkov. Let's talk some flyers.
Matvey Michkov. Or as they say,
there's a lot. Flyer fans are. There's a line to get in.
Or as they say in Delaware County, Meach Cove. Meach Cove at the.
Well, here's the beauty of it. Flyer fans are gacked.
They are.
How about that?
There is
coming out of the woodwork. We're talking Flyers here.
There is a line around the corner in Voorhees to see Matvey Michkov.
What are you talking about? We don't talk Flyers. Where else are you going to get the news that there's a line around the whole city of Voorhees to get in there to see Michkov?
Jordan Hall just posted a little highlight video, too. Matvey Michkov scores off of a feed from Luchenko. Fans went nuts.
Look at that, the connection.
Fans went nuts at the skate zone.
All right.
I am excited, though, Mike.
So we're talking about, all right, so first of all, my retort to, what's his name? Gar? Gar
with 2 R's.
All right, Gar with 2 R's. Here's the thing. Is it going to kill him to put 2 sandwiches out there? You mean to tell me there's not 2 people that will walk in without eggs? That's what I'm talking about. There are people like me. You waste the product, just put it out there. If it stays out there for a longer period of time, it's in our peril.
No, it'll be in theirs.
No, it isn't, because we're going to buy it.
If you don't buy it, what he's saying
He's saying that nobody on earth is going to walk in. If you put 2 sandwiches without egg, nobody's going to buy that sandwich. I'm telling you that there are non-egg people. This is, again, you keep going down this road of prejudice against non-egg people, thinking that everybody should be an egg person.
No, I think if you're getting a breakfast sandwich, you should have an egg on it. That's what I'm saying.
This is why, again, this kind of closed-mind mentality is what makes America not
here we go.
American society.
Because of the eggs.
Exactly. Let's go to John in Maryland. John, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. John.
Mike, how you doing?
How you doing, John?
Mike, I couldn't agree with you more. Man, I cannot stand eggs. 2 foods I hate, eggs and beets. But eggs is at the top of the list.
Oh, I love beets.
I like beets.
You can have
I like beets in a nice cold appetizer salad.
Yeah, a little onion.
Beet.
Little onion in
a little golden beet with the red beet.
No, but you're right about the eggs, especially on the breakfast sandwiches, man. It's frustrating to have to say, I want steak and cheese, no egg, or
really, isn't it? Is it too much trouble to accept the fact that there are people that are non-egg people in this world? Like, this is what I don't get. We suffer, John. We suffer here. We're not considered people,
and it's not right.
It's not right.
It's not right.
John, it's not right.
It's not right.
This is America. It's a melting pot. Accept all. This is what I've been preaching my whole life.
That's correct.
Why we are not an animal.
Hey, Mike, if you've got prisoners in prison that can dictate what they want for breakfast, why can't we have sandwiches with no egg?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Hold on.
And this is the Wawa being, and I love Wawa. I go in there, but I go, okay, I need a breakfast sandwich here. And there's none. Sorry. There's none without egg. In the little boxes they put out there. You know,
You got to request it.
You got your pork roll, you got your sausage, you got your bacon. It's all got to have the egg in there.
Here's the issue I have with you right now. No one's saying you can't get your breakfast sandwich without an egg, but you got to request it. You want Wawa to say, you know what, Mike Missanelli may come here today. We're going to put out 3 eggless breakfast sandwiches that may go to
Mike
waste.
Missanelli and thousands of others who don't like egg. Like, we're not that much of a minority. Like, you know, one person in the world is going to come into a Wawa. So let me ask you this question. Why should I have to go to the counter, go to the computer, just because, like, when they put the sandwiches out there, why should I not be included in that dynamic? Why should I have to have the special order?
Because it is a special order. It's a breakfast sandwich without a damn egg.
And there could be a breakfast sandwich without egg that you put up there. That's all I'm asking. Is this too much to ask?
I think it is.
It is? It's less work. You don't have to have an egg to put on top of it.
Now you're going to get me started on something I have an issue with. Why? That restaurants charge you more money for egg whites. Why? Why do egg whites cost more money than a regular egg? All they're doing is removing the yolk.
Well, because there's a process to remove the yolk. You got to do extra work. What do
you know how easy it is to remove the yolk from a... You don't know because you don't do eggs.
I've done it. I've needed egg white in a recipe. You got to you toss it like that.
And it should cost more money.
Nothing work. It's more work to separate a yolk from an egg white.
You're also assuming they're separating it. Sometimes they just pour it from the carton. You can get egg whites in a carton.
A real restaurant will give you real egg whites. Let's go to Darren on his cell. Darren, hold on. That was my bad fat finger. Darren, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Darren?
What's up, Mike?
How you doing, Darren?
Good. I wanted to see if I could give a couple shout-outs real quick.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, first I wanted to give a birthday shout-out to my guy, Taki.
Yeah, we don't do the shout-outs, Darren, but it's all right. Get to your point.
All right. Nah, the egg thing. I empathize with you with the egg thing. I have family members that don't like eggs, too. So I get where you're coming from.
That's all I'm saying. It's just a little respect.
Some people don't like them. They don't care for them. So
we should be a class that's included. You know, we're an inclusive class. We're not bad people. We're normal. So I'm saying.
That was it?
I don't know.
He didn't have another point? A caller? He just wants to say happy birthday?
Sure, because we don't do we have to, like, you can't do shout-outs.
No.
You know,
I thought he had a sports-related thing.
So I just, I just wanted to give a shout-out. I smelled that based on the years of taking calls for like that. But I'm not asking for much here. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to belabor this whole topic, but I'm just saying that is it too much trouble?
So Hunter Mills on YouTube says, I'm fired up for sports or hungry as hell.
Or like saying, what is he, crazy? Like, what?
But I am surprised, Mike. I mean, we started this whole show talking about Howie Roseman's inability to identify defensive talent.
And nobody cares.
And nobody cares.
They care more about the egg.
Nobody cares. And look, it's only one game, but did you see enough from Bryce Huff? Or how about Devin White losing the starting job before the season even starts? Those are the 2 big acquisitions by Howie Roseman. How are we not upset about that? But we're upset about eggs.
You know, growing up, I used to get the eye roll, too. Oh, it's got egg in it. I can't eat it. I used to get the eye roll from the parental units.
You know what's funny is I'm busting your chops.
How about parental unit that says, okay, I respect that. How about that?
I'm busting your chops on this. When I was a kid at McDonald's, I would specifically get the sausage muffin, no egg. When I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
But now I've grown to like eggs.
Oh, you're just a wonderful guy.
Like, no, as a kid. You're a little older than a kid.
You've grown up to be an adult who likes eggs.
And beets.
Congratulations.
And Brussels sprouts. Things I didn't like as a kid.
610-632-0975. Back after this. The 97.5, The Fanatic. Again, we got the head coach, Nick Sirianni. I love Nick. I can't wait to listen to him. That's coming up at 12:10. There you go. Core values.
Yeah, it's another drinking
Dog
game.
mentality.
All that stuff you'll hear.
We all fertilize.
Yeah.
He hasn't hit the fertilized.
No, he hasn't gone
So much
fertilizer.
good.
So much good. Jay Sirianni and what is it? What are his brothers' names?
I only know the Jay Sirianni one. He always talks about his dad.
His dad.
Mount Union.
Mount Union.
Gotta get a Mount Union reference in there.
Maybe he won't do that today.
I think we'll get a couple dog mentalities today, though.
What does Monday night remind him of? Friday night, obviously, we got the high school stuff. What does he think about the Monday night lights?
Monday Night Football. Do they still have the song? They don't do that song anymore, right? All my rowdy friends are here for Monday night. Remember that song?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Hank
They
Williams,
did, I
Hank
think-
Williams Jr. song?
They made a new one last year.
Did he get in trouble, Hank Williams?
Hank Williams Jr.?
Yeah, didn't he get in trouble for something?
I don't know.
Let me look that up. I don't want to spread
Check it
rumors
out.
here.
All right, so let's move on to our next Sterling topic today. We kind of milked the egg thing, right? Let's go to Club Shay Shay. Now, this is a very interesting thing. Now, in case you don't know about this whole thing, Shannon Sharpe apparently left his IG Live thing open when he was in an amorous situation with a female.
What's
And at first he said he was hacked, and then he tried to get ahead of the story. Here's my theory. He did it on purpose. My theory is he did it on purpose because let's face it, this is not going to hurt him in any way. It can only enhance him, right? With Shay Shay with this, to most males, wins points. Does he not?
oh
Like how would you criticize Shannon Sharpe for this? It's criticism proof.
you could criticize him if it was on purpose.
Well, this is what I'm saying. This is why I think it was on purpose. First of all, who puts their IG Live thing on by accident? How would that happen?
It's a good question.
You're going to it, right? You have to get into the IG Live. Like, how would it happen that you would mistakenly leave it on?
I mean, you could see that. I mean,
How?
you could see
Tell me how.
accidentally hitting it.
No, you're with a woman. What are you doing with your IG Live anyway? Like, how would it? Why are you going to it?
Do you think this is a Kim Kardashian?
I think it is a Shannon Sharpe sex audio.
Because Ray J has said Kim Kardashian, they did that on purpose.
Exactly.
And
He's
doesn't
got
he?
nothing to lose here. He's a single man. And we go, man, Shay Shay. He's getting lauded by his peers all over the place. Oh, Shay Shay, dude, gets doing some work. You know, it's all
Okay, Unc. You're hearing that all over the place.
Go ahead, Unc. You know, he's getting lauded.
Yeah, and for those who didn't go or see on Twitter, it was all over the place. You could hear the audio of,
Don't open that up in the workplace.
yeah, it's not suitable for work. NSF, as they say.
Yeah, not safe for work.
NSFW. There we go.
NSFW. Yeah, not
Yeah,
safe for
so
work.
you
Don't
really
open that
can't
up.
see anything, but you can hear some amorous notes in the whole thing, right? So that's the safest thing you can do. You know, there's no video is going out there. Nobody can see the video,
And
but you're live and you hear all this stuff, and people go ahead, Shay.
And we don't know who the female was, correct?
Her name's Michelle.
That's all we know.
That's all we know. Michelle Beadle came out and said, it's not me.
Yeah, I guess every Michelle's like, it wasn't me.
Right. Wasn't me.
Any Michelle that knows Shay
He's
Shay.
shaggy.
You
me.
could be right, though, because I have to say, having heard the audio that was leaked, pretty impressed with Unc.
What? What are you impressed
Unc's
with?
got some stamina for his age. Yo, he's no spring chicken there, Mike.
He's got some stamina. What are you talking about? How do you can? Would you do time it?
He's 56.
So
Well,
what?
the video does have lasts a certain amount of time, so you start to get it a little. He's
So
not timing it.
how long did it last?
I don't know how long it lasted, but the video clip I saw was like close to 3 minutes where he's – not that 3 minutes is a long time. 3 minutes is a long
Bill's like,
time.
that's a world
That's what I'm
record.
saying.
I don't
What are
need,
you talking about?
I don't need my wife.
Stamina.
I don't need my wife texted in. 3 minutes isn't long, but I guess it was the quality of the 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Did you hear the video?
That's not stamina.
Shannon Sharpe.
It might be action, but it's not stamina.
Club Shay Shay.
It's funny you say that because I think Ocho Cinco took the exact opposite.
He said it was a
one
short?
year. No, it was saying that you sound like you were wheezing. You sound like you need to get in better shape.
All right, now hold on. This is a little tail to this story.
I'm getting killed on YouTube now.
It's a little tail to this story. Because Bill revealed some, I hope I'm not overstepping my bounds here. But Bill, you've been in amorous situations. You have a lovely wife, very attractive wife, been in amorous situations.
The Apple Watch?
She wears the Apple Watch.
Yeah, I get worried about the Apple Watch.
Now,
Because that's very easily...
I need to slice this 100 different ways here. You're afraid of the Apple Watch, and you're in an amorous situation with the lovely wife, and the Apple Watch gets hit, and it's a call to her mother.
Yeah, that could be very alarming. And the Apple Watch is an easy accident.
Yeah. So my question is this. What does she do with the watch on?
She tracks...
What is this? We got to straighten this whole situation out. Hon, can you take the watch off?
Well, my wife's a personal trainer, so she likes to track her calories burned for the day.
Check her stamina?
Yeah, we got to maybe get away from this conversation. My in-laws listen religiously to this conversation. No, I'm just saying the Apple Watch makes me nervous. The Apple Watch makes me nervous.
I don't disagree.
Of course,
right. You know what I'm talking about.
You nervous.
You don't want the Apple Watch.
You can't have the Apple Watch
Because
on.
I've made that mistake. I used to wear the Apple Watch. You could very easily call people with it.
Yes. And to go back to the original Shannon Sharpe screwing this thing up.
Yeah.
It does seem a little crazy to say that this was a total accident, especially after the first.
There's no question in my mind he did it on purpose. How do you make the mistake of having your IG Live on? Like what? When you're with the woman, the IG Live it shouldn't even be a factor.
So there's one thing that I could say this would be a problem for, career-wise, and on top of that, the idea of there's going to be people like, well, kids follow Shannon Sharpe. Why would he do this on Instagram Live? That type of perception against him would be the one thing that hurt him, because I don't think everyone's unanimously like, hey, good work, Shannon.
His reputation isn't really kid-friendly. He's bawdy. Like, his reputation is being bawdy anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, I think he did it on purpose.
But then why say I was hacked?
Well, I don't see.
That's the biggest problem for me.
I thought that maybe he figured, he at first thought it was going to backfire, and then he realized, and so then he comes out. He comes out with it, right? At first, it's like, maybe I did something wrong, and then the more he thought about it, because it's like, yeah, Shay. He endorsed it. And that's what I think his original plan was.
But isn't he a spokesperson for men's health products too?
Yeah, he is.
So this helps, doesn't it? This helps his argument.
Not if it was 3 minutes. It doesn't help. That's pretty much the opposite of what it's supposed to do.
I guess it depends on who you're talking to.
Exactly. All right, let's get Mark in PA. Mark, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mark.
Hey, Mike, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you, Mark.
Cool. Well, hey, welcome back to the airwaves. Here's what I wanted to say is, I'm used to say sports point. What do you feel about Kansas City coming back to the Super Bowl? I mean, I'm afraid of that. So what do you feel?
What are you afraid of?
I'm thinking they're going to make it back, and if we're in it, we're going to lose. So that's
yeah. So you're afraid of an Eagles Kansas City match already?
Yeah.
I don't know. Kansas City, listen, it's really hard to get back there. I know they're supposed to be the best team in the league, but I don't know. Something can always go wrong. It's very unusual that team will keep going back and back to the Super Bowl. So, so if they get there, I think it's something you got to deal with. Are the Eagles as good as Kansas City? No, I don't think they are.
All right, cool. Well, let me jump back on the egg thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own, foods that they hate. Well, I hate hummus. I mean, hummus, you could take that and, do whatever you want with it. So I understand your egg thing. That's one point. Mm-hmm. Now, the whole thing with bread. good restaurants serve artisan bread. Okay, that stuff is usually eaten pretty much before your dinner gets there. But if you want to take your artisan bread home, what's wrong with that? Okay, because there's regular bread. Okay, whatever. But one more point. I worked at a restaurant 30 years ago. The leftover bread went back to a bread warmer where it was rehydrated and reserved. Okay.
Wow.
One more thing.
Yeah.
I worked as a busboy, so the relish trays would come back. We recycled the celery, the pickles, the olives.
There's no doubt that kind of stuff goes on in restaurants. They're trying to maximize profit and cut corners.
It's not correct.
As far as Shannon Sharpe, you're probably right. He's just trying to, put himself out there.
I think that's on purpose, man. I think it's definitely on purpose.
You think it's on purpose?
First of all, I don't care if it's artisan bread. Who cares? I haven't had artisan bread before. I can go to the store and buy artisan bread. Come on.
Yeah, this is
that's special bread.
Look,
I need to take it home because it's special bread.
You've had
It's
some bad.
gauche.
You've had some bad takes over your 30 years. This bread one's the worst.
No, it's not.
The worst.
Yeah, I can hold my head up high, saying, Mike, you got class.
Yeah, I feel good. They threw that.
Well, now that you're back on the airways, the day you left is the day I stopped listening to sports talk radio, and I would never vow to listen until you came back.
Oh, Justin.
You back on the airways.
You make me weep
You keep
here.
it real. You speak truth, facts, and in this day and age, unfortunately, it seems like that people don't like truth and facts, and I'm just glad to see you back, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Justin.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the Eagles' defense, and your producer brought up a very good point. In the first half, or the first two series, I guess, for the Green Bay Packers in that game, our offense did our defense no favors, and they held that offense to 6 points. Mm-hmm. If they could consistently stay that way, then that's where I feel the frustration comes in, is because, okay, you had your back up against the wall and you held them to 3 points twice. Mm-hmm. So what happened? Okay, well, you're fatigued because, let's be honest, the first month of the regular season is now preseason for all the starters, okay? So we don't really get to evaluate and see what we truly have and are until our bye week's week 5, which sucks. But probably week 6. That's kind of where you would expect to see who we truly should be. I come from the Jim Johnson era. My son is 15 now, and that's how old I was throughout the early 2000s, was in my teenage years. That's my expectation of the Eagles defense. And if they don't like it, kick rocks, because we went to 5 NFC championship games, 1 Super Bowl. And so defense wins championships. From 2000 until 2005, what 2 defenses didn't you want to see? Ravens, Eagles. Why? Because we smacked you in the mouth. You didn't want to play us. And I feel like we need to get back to that. Now, I know we're not as physical as guys making business decisions. I'm not like that. Listen, when I'm on that field, Brian Dawkins, my favorite Eagle of all time. Like, look at his mindset, right? I just wish these guys would have that all the time. So I just hope everyone just stays relaxed, understand it's early, and we need to just watch it, evaluate it for what it is, and really think about week 6 or 7. We should understand who this team is and what they are.
Yeah, Justin, you raised good points. And one of the good points he raised is, okay, they spilt their bucket in the first quarter. They balled out. They held Green Bay, who were in the red zone 3 times early on. And then maybe they hit a wall. And maybe it was a physical thing, game 1, preseason. That's a good point.
No, it is a good point. The red zone stops in that first quarter could have been a different football game. If they give up touchdowns in the first quarter, the Eagles probably lose. But what's concerning to me is, if we really want to look at the numbers, you gave up 414 yards to the Packers.
Yeah.
There were only 2 teams who gave up more yards in week 1.
Yeah, that was in the middle of the game. That middle of the game, they didn't look good. They looked aggressive early. In fact, I tweeted out, Eagle defense looks really good. They're hitting. And then all of a sudden, that 2 middle quarters kind of let them down, and then they get to the fourth quarter, and I thought they got it back together again a little bit. So, consistency
a lot of yards.
Has to... Yeah.
They gave up a lot of yards, and maybe more alarming than anything, 163 rushing yards they gave up to the Green Bay Packers. Last week, the Atlanta Falcons only put up 89 yards, but we know they're capable with Bijan Robinson. Remember, everyone wanted Bijan on the Eagles when they drafted Jalen Carter a couple years ago. Thankfully, the Falcons took Bijan before the Eagles had a chance to take him.
Uh-huh.
But I am a little bit nervous about what this Eagles rushing defense is going to do on Monday night against Bijan. Because they didn't look good against the Packers.
He's a good player. Black Gritty,
Love Black Gritty.
Black Gritty has a story like Unk. Black Gritty, what's up?
What's up, guys? So one thing about the defense, you're absolutely right. The rushing is my problem, my worry. Because on the offense, the field started getting chewed up. Dudes are slipping and sliding. So get me on a real turf, and then I'll worry about how it looks. But they got to sure that run game up. Now, as far as my story is concerned, guys, so, I was had my Apple Watch on, and I'm doing Uncle Shay activities. And at the height of my activities, at the climax, the watch starts beeping and starts alerting. It's like, you're having a cardiac alert. Like, we're going to call 911.
No way.
And you broke my back trying to turn the watch off and call the ambulance. And we laid around on the floor and laughed for like 20 minutes. I really did. I was like, because you got to hold the watch for 30 seconds and confirm that you're not dying. And the whole time the watch is
So you were able to stop it, like they didn't come.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I fell out the bed and I saved myself. I mean, I'm telling you, this thing.
Black Gritty, let me ask you a question. You spend all the time taking everything off. Why not the watch?
Huh?
Why?
I'm trying to get my steps in.
Yeah.
I'm a big guy.
That's the thing. It burns the calories. It tracks it for you.
That's right. Yeah, I'm trying to.
You got to hit your goals, Black Gritty.
Got to be kidding me, man.
Mikey, they thought I was a marathon triathlete. You know what I mean? That thing was up in there. My heart rate was 2,000. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying. Hey, bro, you see this? You see these numbers I put on you now?
Oh man, you're using sex as a toy to get your heart rate up.
Hey, let me tell you something. He was out there giving it the best that he got for them 3 minutes, and I was doing the same. But my watch went off. They tried to kill me out here. You know what I mean? Last thing I need is the cops showing up. What were you doing, sir? So, yeah. Don't worry
man,
about
you're
the
nuts.
IG Live. Don't have them call the cops on. You know what I mean?
You Gritty. Good to hear from you. All right, man.
Talk.
On this station.
Wait. Hold a second. You actually would leave the watch on because it's a performance thing that the watch would notice?
So here's what happens with the watch. And I don't wear it anymore, but I used to. Is you could set goals for yourself. And not only steps, but calories and different things like that. So people sometimes don't want to take it off because they want to make sure they're hitting their goal. You could even compete with other people who have the watch that you can make sure you burn more calories than them and all that. So I guess Black Gritty's saying, I don't want to waste the opportunity of this exercise that I'm about to do because there is some cardiovascular benefit to.
It's coming through my head. This conversation is a conversation you could have on a midday show. This is a conversation that I wouldn't be allowed to have on Evening Drive.
You would not
because kids would be parents are picking up kids from school, and so you have to be conscious that the midday we could do anything.
So we could be
kids
a little bit PG-13 here.
Exactly. The adults are listening.
We're just talking about exercise. That's all. That's all.
All right. Well, Shannon Sharpe did apologize. We'll get to that in a little bit. And 12 o'clock hour, of course, we're waiting on Nick Sirianni. 12:10 is when they said that he would speak. I am telling you, I will take 100 to 1 that it's not 12:10.
I'm not taking that back.
Tardiness.
Yeah,
I'm not taking that back.
610-632-0975. It is the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this. Lunchtime. Everybody, I hope you're enjoying your lunch with us. 12 o'clock hour of Mike Miss Show brought to you by Service First. Heating and air conditioning gets 0% financing for 72 months. A $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. Well, you know what time it is. It's noontime, which means it's time for the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Producer Ray Dunn, what do we have today on the news at noon?
All right, we're going to football stories, and then we got one quite local to us that we'll get to. But let's start with football here. And Kyler Murray going viral on Wednesday for his comments about not getting the ball to Marvin Harrison. And everywhere that it was put out, all that was put out in the quote was, "That's not my job," talking about getting the ball to him. I'm going to play you the full audio here. I want your official ruling on if this is an example of it being taken out of context, the aggregators just trying to cause more problems than there actually are, or this is really just a quarterback saying it's not his job to get the ball to their top draft pick.
Yeah, you play football, like, there's a lot of stuff moving around. You're moving fast, like, you don't see everything.
What were they doing to take away Marvin?
Honestly, man, I wouldn't say they were just taking him away. I think, I'm just, as a quarterback, obviously you're going through your reads. Sometimes the ball goes to him, but that's not, it's not my job. Obviously, I have a sense and a feel for guys when they don't get the ball and when they're, when they are getting the ball. But, I leave that up to Drew. Drew always, he tells me don't worry about that type of stuff. Just keep playing your game and, get the ball to where the ball's supposed to go.
I got no problem with that. I ain't saying it's not my job to specifically get the ball to Marvin Harrison. In the scheme of the offense, if I get it to him, it's because I'm going through my reads. But it's also there's a lot of responsibility on the play caller to specifically want to get the ball to Marvin Harrison. Don't you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have a problem. I don't think Kyler Murray's a great quarterback, but I don't have a problem with the answer there. He's talking about Drew Petzing, the offensive coordinator. If he's calling the plays, it's up to Kyler Murray to go through the reads and his progressions. We've seen what happens when Jalen Hurts tries to force feed the ball sometimes to A.J. Brown. Doesn't always work out. So,
sometimes you want to get a guy off. But to me, that's the responsibility of the coordinator. Let's get the ball to this guy that gets confidence up. And then you put him in routes where you can get an easy completion. So that's more the offensive coordinator's job, I think, than Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I'm with you. But I don't think Kyler Murray's a great quarterback.
No, he's not. Not a great quarterback. Yeah, I mean, he's adequate enough. I mean, you can win with him.
You think so?
I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with him, but you can win with him. He can move the offense. He's got enough skills to move the offense.
Maybe. I think I don't
Where
think
does he rank in the realm of quarterbacks when you rank the quarterbacks? He's probably like in the 20s. Right at this point, no?
Yeah, I would agree.
Like right about 20?
Yeah, low teens, high 20s.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
When I did I don't have him in the top 15, that's for sure.
Yeah, so
he's got to be in the 20s.
Yeah. Next.
All right, moving on. O.C. Umenyiora joining the podcast space. At least this is the first I've seen of this.
O.C.
So this is Jason O.C., and it's the first time I've really seen anything come out from there. He is praising Jerry Jones. And his praise comes from a story that he has about DeMarcus Ware. Let's take a listen.
One of my greatest friends is a guy by the name of DeMarcus Ware. Me and DeMarcus also have the same financial advisor, Chris Cole. I called Chris Cole, and Chris picks up the phone, and there's like music in the background. I'm like, Chris doesn't party.
Yeah, you like.
So I'm like, what is this? I'm like, you're at a party? He was like, yeah, I'm at a party with DeMarcus. Jerry Jones just made DeMarcus Ware the highest paid defensive player in the league. And after that, he threw him a party to celebrate for taking his money. At this time, I'm going through a contract dispute. He made this guy the highest paid player in football and threw him a party.
Celebrate. Here you go.
If anybody says a negative word about Jerry Jones, you and I are going to have a problem. Who does that?
Well, I don't get it. What does he say?
I think Jerry Jones paid DeMarcus Ware and then threw him a party for becoming the highest paid player. Is that in essence what happened?
What's so funny about it? I mean, is that like preposterous? Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
They aren't computing the fact that Jerry Jones is celebrating giving away all of this money to DeMarcus Ware. I don't understand why it's so funny to them.
Yeah, I don't know either. Maybe I'm missing a point here. No, he just took it out any further. We're glad to have you here. We signed his extension. Let's have a party. What's the problem with that?
Two things from this that stick out to me.
Yeah.
One, it's kind of on that idea of like, I don't understand to them why this is so crazy. I think you would celebrate this getting done anywhere. Sports owner you'd most want to party with, and given the idea that this doesn't seem that out of line, why would this make Jerry Jones immune from any criticism in anyone's mind?
I don't know.
Yeah. I guess from a player's perspective, he liked it. But I got a bigger question. This new podcast is Jason and OC. Who's the Jason?
I'm trying to figure that one out.
I think he might be a caretaker. No, maybe not, because he got first billing.
You talk about
Jason's got to be somebody.
Yeah, it's got to be somebody.
Jason Bell.
I don't know who that is. Who is it?
Yeah, find out.
The description is literally Jason Bell and two-time Super Bowl champ O.C. Umenyiora.
So it's called Jason and O.C. instead of O.C. and Jason?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
All right, let me tell you a quick story. He played with Justin Tuck, O.C., right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so one day I get a call from a buddy of mine out of the blue. He said, why don't you come into Bristol, which is our hometown? He goes, I'm at the Black Elks Club right now, and we're hanging out with Justin Tuck. I go, what the hell? What the hell with Justin Tuck?
Is he from there?
Yeah. It turns out he married a girl from my hometown. And he was in this little club. I mean, we don't know all these little social clubs in Bristol. But
Lauren Williamson?
Yeah, I think she was from Bristol. So I go, dude, I could drive an hour to just hang out with Justin Tuck. But there were all these little clubs, like the Moose Club, the Elks Club, but there was also a Black Elks Club. But everybody was welcome in the Black Elks. So white people could go there and hang as well.
Wait, so you didn't go?
No, I had to drive an hour. We're going to drive an hour to Bristol just because Justin Tuck was in the Black Elks Club. Come on, man. All right, next.
All right, final one here. We did already get into the Shannon Sharpe conversation today, so we could get you that audio a little bit later on the apology. There's one thing going viral right now across Philadelphia. It has to do with what happened at McGillen's karaoke night last night.
I saw this.
Today is an off day for the Phillies. A couple of Phillies took advantage of this, going with girlfriends, the wives, out to McGillen's. And there was karaoke sung of a certain song. And Garrett Stubbs stepped to the stage with the people singing it. Take a listen.
I hate this song.
I don't even know what's the song. What is it?
It's Dancing on My Own.
Oh, it's the Dancing on My Own
and
song.
What you can't hear is that's Garrett Stubbs at McGillen's old ale house up on stage with a couple of women singing the song because they were out partying last night because today was a day off.
And this has been confirmed by On Patterson, who I guess spoke to Garrett Stubbs.
Well, there's video of it. I saw video of Garrett Stubbs.
No, this is, I'm going further into the story here now.
Got it.
Confirmed that this is not a preview of Dancing on My Own being the October song, just having some fun. That's directly from Stubbs, according to onpatterson.com.
Hey, you know what? Knock himself out. I frankly would find that story a little more entertaining if he wasn't hitting 201. But
he's the vibes guy.
Yeah, I get it. I don't have any time for vibes.
But this brings up
250 and dance your ass off.
This brings up a bigger question.
What?
So Ray just said this is not indicative of the fact that this will be the song come October. There's no chance in hell I want to hear this song come October. We've heard it 2 years in a row now. They came up short 2 years in a row. You can't roll with the same song the third straight year.
I got to be honest with you. You know a song I'm sick of now? What, a Philly walking to the plate song? Enough is enough now?
Hey, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you.
Oh, my God, enough.
Can't stand
Change it up.
Can't stand it. I'm over it, too. I was at the game the other night. I couldn't stand hearing that four damn time.
I think the crowd's over it, too. The crowd used to be into it. Yeah, see, come on, man. You got to change it up every now and then. It's like we changed it up here with the songs.
Yeah, I can't stand it.
All right.
Wait, it's 12-11. No Nick Sirianni yet?
No Nick Sirianni. So let's get to the apology. Shannon Sharpe, as we talked about in our last hour, actually apologized for the amorous situation. Oh, okay. Well, Nick, we'll get you after. All right, go ahead, Nick.
But he's been a great teammate, and done everything that's been required of him, and I've really got a lot of respect for him, and we're going to need him. We're going to need him this year. It's a long football season. Obviously Zach and Nakobe are our linebackers, but Devin's going to have to contribute this year if we want to go where we want to go, and that goes for all the guys that are one snap away from going in.
Hey, Nick, you talked about the extra time you had to maybe now, instead of being in offensive meetings so much, to look at 2-minute offense, 4-minute, all that kind of stuff. What about the schedule? You had, week 1, you got the weird schedule. Week 2, it's like a mini bye. Week 3, you got a short week. Have you delved into that?
Yeah, we've been doing that for, being involved with Frank with the schedules there in Indy. I've been doing that stuff for the last 6.5 years, right? Just being able to every schedule, there's so many different scenarios that you have to play. So you what do you do on a Monday night game? What's the schedule? And then after the end of that, you debrief and you say, what could we have done better? What did you guys really like? And you talk that over with your coaches and staff meetings. You talk that over with your leadership council, and you have individual conversations with players as well. And so, after every one of these unique schedules, we talk about it, right? And that's been going on here for the last 4 years. And so we feel like, is our schedule and our process perfect? No, your process is never perfect. You're constantly trying to get it better and get better. Every year calls for a little bit different thing. And so after all these things, we played a lot of fortunately, we've played a lot of Monday night football games here. And so, we've had a lot of discussions like this to help make sure that we're putting ourselves in the best positions to win. And then you do that with a short week, and then you do that with a Thursday night game, and you do that with Christmas. All the things that require, now Brazil was new. We didn't have a real good plan for that, but it worked out. But you try to do that with everything, and that's constantly on our mind. If we want, our message this week has been detail. We're talking about details, right? And that's our details into how we play this game of football, like our fundamentals. And if we want our players to be detailed in everything that they do, we sure as hell better be detailed in everything that we do.
Nick, when's the reason for changing the time that you guys practice this year?
This year?
Yeah.
Yeah, just again going through our process. Just because things have went well. One of the worst things I hate about, if a coach says this, well, we've always done it that way. Stupid. No. How are you trying to get better? We feel like this portion of this is helping us get better with not only the way we practice, but the way we meet and the way we walk through. And so, we talked about it, and this is where we felt we were. I had to say, and I'm just going to keep the whys in, but we're not ever afraid to change, different things, whether it's schedules, whether it's scheme. Now, core values that you see every day, those are set in stone. That's what we're gonna, through hard times, through good times, we're gonna keep going back to those. But schedules can constantly change, schemes can constantly change, in the attempts to just keep getting better.
Nick, when you evaluate week 1 at certain positions and certain players, how much do you have to factor in the field conditions?
Good question. Obviously, both teams played on the same field. So, it wasn't, I don't want to say too much what I felt of the field or anything like that. That's not really relevant. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to say a little bit about it.
Evaluation.
Well, sometimes there's games. I'll say it this way, and it's not this extreme, but I remember when we first got to Indy had played a game at Buffalo, and there was 4 feet of snow on there. It was insane. In 2017, I think. Whatever the score was, but we were watching that game. We're like, well, maybe we should watch another game to evaluate the players. Maybe take this one out. I see a picture of. I always watch that one of Shady, the game that he had here against Detroit. What some unbelievable runs that he had in that snow-covered field. So you might, again, we are not in the business of blaming anything, or we are accountability, right? That's the only way you get better. So, let's talk about missed tackles. Did some of the missed tackles happen? Did some of them happen because a guy slipped? Yeah, the result of the guy slipping, that happened, but there's also a way that you approach the running back. That's what needs to be fixed, not you can't do anything about the field. And it's the same thing like as a wide receiver. When a wide receiver slips in a break, well, that the field is a little bit sloppy, so you have to play with better fundamentals to go through that way. So, yeah, you still can evaluate it. And I gave you two sides. Like I gave you one where we didn't do it at all. I gave you one where Shady was making all these unbelievable plays, but we will have to evaluate the approach to it, the approach to the ball carrier. That's why we might have missed it. So missed the tackle or slipped in a route or whatever it might be. So we still use that. Like we're evaluating hard off that tape, and great example for us that there are going to be adversities this year that we have zero control over. So put it out of your mind and focus on what you got to do, control the controllables, and let's go to work.
Nick, what was your approach with the guys since you got back from Brazil on Saturday up until today as far as getting them in here or giving them rest time to make sure they're all recovered from a grueling weekend?
Yeah, when you, one of those weekends, the last weekend prior to game starting, right, most of the NFL has off Saturday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Obviously, we didn't. So they needed some time off, that's for sure, especially with the travel. Coaches needed some time off. When you got off the plane on Saturday, it was, we were all tired, right? Some guys slept great, some guys didn't sleep, some guys watched the game, whatever it was. So everybody had to kind of adjust. So getting them that time off was important. And then getting them back when they came back to work, getting them, lifting and hanging out together and some meetings, that was important. And now today, but I think sometimes you don't want to go too far ahead either on a team. You want to stay in the coaches can. You want the players to be fresh, and that's just our philosophy. And so, now we're starting here today as a normal. You can come in, Trot. All right, now you can start here today. We end up starting here today as a normal Wednesday, even though it's a Thursday. My mind thinks in all those, today's Wednesday. The rest of the world, that's how football coaches and football players think. Today's Wednesday. No, it's Thursday. You can argue to the death with a football coach. He'll tell you today's Wednesday, no matter what.
Nick, there's been conversation about Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles injury, maybe not having full mobility yet. What's the tape showing you, and what are you expecting? That,
Kirk has been an unbelievable football player in this league for a long time. A lot of respect for him. He's a great football player. And so we're going to have to be ready. Again, not something you can control. That, if he was feeling good one day and not feeling good the other day, we have to be ready for, the player that we know he is. And because he's a heck of a player, and we got to be ready for him because he can make teams look bad because of his talent.
But Nick, I know you take things week by week, day by day, but Monday.
But I want to take you to another place besides where you're thinking.
Well, looking at the totality of the schedule, Monday is only one of two games you guys have at the link through October. You're really not there much until the latter half of the season. I'm just curious, what do you make of that?
Obviously, we love playing in front of our fans. That's something you can't control. So I don't try to think too much of it. I do think that when you look at the positives, you think about the positives like, oh my gosh, we get to play a home Monday night game in Philadelphia as our first true home game. That's pretty awesome, right? Monday Night Football. Monday night was the night when I was 13 or younger, was the one night I was able to stay up past my bedtime. It was like, hey, Dad would be like, hey, okay, you can watch the first half. Get a little bit older, I can watch into the third quarter. Get a little bit older, I can watch into the fourth quarter. being in high school, I can, and a little bit sometimes in middle school, I can watch the whole game. And that, what an unbelievable experience to have with your dad, to be able to watch Monday Night Football with him. And it's kind of cool that you get to play in front of that, knowing that there's other kids around the country that love this game of football that are going to be able to do that same thing as well. So looking at all, again, I showed a schedule today of what the schedule is, and I blurred it out because nothing else matters. Who we played last week doesn't matter. Who we play next week doesn't matter. Who we play in November doesn't matter. All that matters is our preparation for today for the Atlanta Falcons. So, good question. I respect your question, but we are truly focused on it and excited about the opportunity that we have this week.
With the Rams, Raheem Morris adopted some of Vic's tactics, presumably because Sean McVay wanted it and Staley had ran it beforehand. I know it's not a lot of film preseason, just one game, but is that still the same defense that he's running?
You know, again, like you said, Jeff, there's not a lot to study. You look at their preseason and they were in one personnel the whole time. Then you look at their last week's game. I'm speaking offensively, even. You look at their last week's game. Then they were in a completely different personnel. You guys can do this numbers on that. So, again, we know there's a lot of unknowns. It's almost still like your first game of the year where there's gonna be a lot of unknowns because the way they play the Steelers isn't necessarily going to be the way they play the Eagles. And so, but yeah, you see similarities of some of the Rams stuff that they were doing, and from last year. And then I just know that a lot of respect for Coach Morris, a really good coach. Who's done a really good job in this league as a defensive coordinator for a long time, and so I know we'll have to be ready to go.
Speaking of that, from your perspective, obviously the tape's out now, like what you guys do on offense.
Same kind of deal, though. Martin, like it's like we didn't show everything either. There's a lot of unknowns that they have to be ready for.
I'm going to ask, so what's the process, or how's the process different now? With you and Kellen kind of working on how to make those adjustments and what to show for next week and going forward.
Yeah, everything's discussed. Everything's discussed within the offensive group of how we're going about like attacking a defense, how we're going about marrying things together. Obviously, Kellen's in charge of that, and leading the way through that, and we're discussing through it. When I can be in there, I'm in there discussing it. Kevin's in there. Kevin Patullo's in there the whole time. Jason Michael, Stout, right? And so it's just, very similar process. I think you look around the league, a lot of people have similar processes of the way they game plan, different things like that. But it's been longer, obviously longer week this week to get ready and to go through those things. But yesterday sometimes it's fun locking yourself in that room and studying the opposing team and going through it that way.
Nick, you described about Bijan Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
How well did you get to know him in the draft process, and what challenges does he present on Monday?
Yeah, we showed some tape of him today of just how elusive he is. I think if you look at his first touchdown was like play 11 against Carolina last year, play 11 of game number 1, and they throw him a little swing pass and he makes the first guy miss, and then he makes another guy miss, and he runs through a tackle. He's a really good football player who he can create on his own. Like things could break down and he still can make a play. A lot of things reminds me of when we used to. It felt like today in the team meeting when I'm showing those, it felt a little bit like, hey, these are the clips I remember showing when we were getting ready to play the Giants and Saquon. He's really elusive and really fast, got good hands, and so I enjoyed my pre-draft process with him. I always enjoy meeting good guys, good football players, and spending time with him. And he's a heck of a football player that's done a nice job so far in this league. We'll have to be ready to tackle. We need to tackle better than we did last game, and it's going to be a big deal this week's game, as every game is.
Nick, you described.
You might have previously been interested in an offensive game plan meeting immediately coming off the game. As you came back from Brazil, what did you find yourself freed up to immediately go?
Again, it's a longer week, so you have more time to do some different things. But, I guess immediately the first thing is watch all the tape, right? Watch offense, defense, special teams, which is no different. But then, I think my mindset goes first of the very first thing I think of instead of, I guess what I would used to do is I used to get in here early before we even watch the tape and watch a couple segments of the next opponent's defense, right? Whether that was, it doesn't matter what time it was, but first thing, hey, before I even go to watch the tape, I usually watch the tape at night of the game, but before I even go to watch the game with the staffs, I would have put the game plan or put the tape on of the opposing team. I think what the first thing I did, or I know the first thing I did was what should the message be this week? What should the culture be about this week? And the culture is the same. We have core values that we believe in, but what truly needs to be dove into this week? And what are some things that I can, what are stories that I could tell? What are videos I could show? What are points that I can make within the tape of who we're playing? And I think that's where my week started this last week, as opposed to in the film room watching 12 personnel against the opposing team. And so, that doesn't, still be able to get to that, but that's where my first thought was as we started this week. That's a good question.
Nick,
two more, please.
Nick, you describe. Want to see big improvements from week 1 to week 2. With that in mind, what's the key to making sure that happens this week with your group, and what are some of the big improvements you need to see?
Yeah, every week you want to get better every week. That's on the forefront of our mind every single time we step on the practice field, every single time we step in the game to game. I've heard that before, that people make the biggest adjustment from week 1 to week 2 as far as their improvements. We just want to continue. That's hard to say, and that's hard to gauge to say, week 2, you get better. You don't know. Our goal is just to continue to rise, right? To continue to rise. And we know we didn't do a good enough job of that last year, I think. But, we're on to 2024. But the thing that, we can't be in the negative of the turnover. We're the only team in the NFL this week that lost the turnover battle and won the game. 10-1. We're 1-10, however you want to look at it. We're the only team that won. That's not sustainable, right? That's not sustainable. So protecting the football, taking the football away, the details, right? The details. We missed too many tackles. You guys heard me say that. We talked about it with the team. We reinforced it today. We'll be doing drills out there when you guys are out there to get ready to tackle better. And so really the biggest emphasis is the details. You want to be the best in the world at something. It's about doing the basics better. It doesn't have to be real fancy. Who tackles better? Who gets off blocks better? Who blocks better? Who takes care of the football better? Who catches the ball better with their fundamentals? That's football, and that's football. When I was growing up at Southwestern High School, that's football wherever, in college. At Washington and Jefferson College, where my brother's a coach, and that's football in the NFL.
Nick, you described Cousins as being a great quarterback. What in your mind puts him at that level?
Yeah, he is he's a really accurate player. And he makes really good decisions with the football. And that, I think, that consistency that he has there is really, it's been noticed because he's done it for such a long time. And he had his team in the playoffs 2 years ago. He's had some good teams. And so again, just really think his accuracy, his decision making, he's able to, get the ball where it needs to go consistently. So again, just got a lot of respect for him, and I think his track record speaks for itself.
All right. Thanks, folks.
You up next, Zach?
All righty, there you go. I'm drunk, first of all, because he said right at least 7 times, and then at the end, of course, he had reference to the high school and his brother. That's all good. But I'll give him credit. He tries to answer every question, and we'll expand upon that in a second. Time for a break. 610-632-0975. Back after this. 39. You just heard Nick Sirianni. It is the Mike Missanelli Show, 610-632-0975. So as I was saying, we can wait into the break. He answers every question, and he gives ponderous answers on every question. And I'll give him credit for that because there are some questions that come at him that he shouldn't give the time of day to. Like, let me ask you this question. I don't want to browbeat people like I have the textbook on how they ask questions. What relevance was the question that points out all these road games that are coming up?
Yeah.
Is there any relevance to that question at all? Now, I'll give the guy credit because he tried to at least be polite and answer it. But like a grumbly coach would go, what the hell kind of question is that? What do I care? Like, we played, if it's a away game, we play an away game. What am I? I'm supposed to think about that this is the last home game for a few weeks? Like, what kind of question is that?
Yeah, I thought you were going to go with the one asking him basically, is Kirk Cousins cooked?
Yeah.
And what's Sirianni going to say? Yeah, he's cooked. We're not worried about him.
Yeah, no, I get it. He wasn't going to say it. Here's what he's learned. He's learned to say, that's a good question, but it's not. Yeah. Right? Because let me tell you the mindset of a reporter. The reporter is in a lot of ways a golden retriever. He asks the question, wants to be accepted. And he's mastered two things, Nick. He occasionally calls the reporter by its first name.
Yes.
Which is a golden retriever wagging a tail for the reporter. And when he says, that's a good question, oh, my God, that gives the guy immunity for at least 5 days.
Yeah, but there was that poor guy that couldn't get his question answered.
Yeah, he was trying to shout from the back. I don't know what was going on with that guy.
I didn't recognize the voice.
There should be an orchestrator there. They go, all right, you next question. You know?
I didn't recognize the voice.
But I'll give him credit. That's impressive about Nick Sirianni, that he takes the time to answer the questions.
Look at you.
I'm not a Sirianni guy.
So much
I'm
good.
just saying, like, that question right there, what the guy asked about the road games, and like I would have answered, like, what am I supposed to do about that? Yeah. He actually took the time, and at the end he said, that's a good question. Like, okay.
You know my ADD kicks in at times.
Uh-huh.
I didn't hear any questions about Bryce Huff. Did I miss it? Was there anything about Bryce Huff?
There wasn't anything about Bryce Huff.
I didn't think so. Now, the first question, when we went right to him, was about Devin White.
Mm-hmm.
And Sirianni backed up what Fangio said yesterday, that Zack Baun, Kobe Dean are the starting linebackers. Devin White's been a good teammate. We talked to him. We're going to need him, blah, blah, blah. Do you think Devin White lost the starting job, or did Kobe Dean win it?
I think he lost it.
That's what I think.
I don't think Fangio, this is the whole Fangio pushing a button, man. I like this guy. I don't like this guy. Because that's the type of mentality he has. That guy can't play for me.
Then why sign him?
Well, I don't know. It was signed like they thought they were getting a bargain. They thought they were getting a Pro Bowl player. They responded to the criticism. They needed a linebacker. So here we go. We got to play a guy who has been known to make some plays in the past, right?
Yeah.
We haven't had that kind of linebacker. They took a shot. Like, I don't blame him for taking a shot. But, Fangio gets in there, and Fangio has different ideas about what he wants from his players. And he doesn't like undisciplined players. I'm assuming that Devin White's undisciplined.
Well, that was the word coming out of Tampa.
Yeah.
That was the reason why he got benched. Undisciplined, not great in pass coverage.
Yeah. Now,
needs motivation was some of the things that were said.
An old school defensive coordinator goes, I don't have time for that. A younger defensive coordinator may try to work it.
I hope and pray that Kobe Dean is the guy that everyone thought he was coming out of Georgia, but I still have some major concerns about Kobe. He's very good against the run. Very good against the run. But he gets taken advantage of, especially in the play-action passing game. Now, maybe you won't see that this week, because if you looked at what happened last week with Atlanta, and this goes to the question that Nick was asked about Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins may not be 100% healthy, they didn't really run a lot of play-action. I don't think they ran any because they couldn't put him under center to run play-action, so maybe you don't see that this week. But Nakobe, you feast on him in the play-action game. He bites so hard to try to stop the run, and sometimes he's good at stopping the run. The problem is when the quarterback pulls it, they could take advantage of.
You should have to get some heat on Cousins this week.
They better, man.
Yeah, they need some heat. All right, 610-632-0975. Alex in Downingtown. What's up, Alex? Thanks for holding.
Hey, no problem. Hey, Mike, you're going to love this call, okay? I got my notes here, so I'll go down to 4 topics that we have today.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, that's a good question. I love it. I love it from that guy. And by the way, he's Calabrese, and you're Italian, and I'm Italian, so we got that going there.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I'm just saying. Okay. So welcome back. Okay, that seems to be a theme everybody is saying, and I'm on board with that.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's we want the first string working here. We want the bar set high, and I think you do that. So I appreciate it, and I'm sure a lot of other people do. And on an Italian thing, maybe I'm biased a little bit, but let's go to the defense. And No. And your co-host, I'm going to tell you something later in the call that you like. But your co-host, I like this kid. You're probably going to mentor him and whip him into shape and stuff like that. But I think he made good points on the defense.
Which kid? We got 2 kids here. We got Bill, we got Ray. Which kid are you talking about? Ray? You talking about Bill?
Ray. No, I'm talking about Ray. But I can talk about Bill. Give me to know these guys. I'm a different generation.
That's all right.
I think he has us confused.
Well, yeah.
I think he's confused. You mean Bill.
Bill sits in with me. Ray's in the other booth in the producer booth. But what do you want to say about the Eagles D?
Okay,
Alex?
well, Ray was the guy that they told me Ray, the producer guy told me Ray. Okay, whatever.
Okay,
whatever. You got a young kid there working with you. Okay, but there was a point made about the defense, and I think that the stops for field goals instead of touchdowns might have made a big difference in that game.
I agree.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that. And so I'm willing, root for the Eagles' defense for the rest of the season because, maybe they can get better. Like they had a little rough period in the middle of the game, but they came up big at certain times, and I think that game could have gotten out of hand.
No, they definitely did, and there was a middle ground where they were getting housed. So I didn't like that part of it. I'm not so sure about the consistency of their defensive tackles. I'm it's evident that their pass rush has to improve in some form. The back end didn't hurt them. Mitchell played well. Blankenship played well. I guess not mentioning Slay, that means he was okay.
Avonte was a liability. Avonte Maddox.
He was.
But I don't think with Isaiah Rodgers not being healthy enough to play, I think that changed the plan a little bit. Now, it'll be interesting if Isaiah Rodgers is healthy, which I think he will be for Monday night. Mm-hmm. Who does play that nickel corner? Do they slide Quinyon into the nickel and put Rodgers outside, or do they prefer to keep Quinyon Mitchell outside? But Rodgers has never played nickel, so
that's a good question. I think the first thing you said is going to happen. I think Rodgers will get the spot back, and he'll use Quinyon Mitchell in various forms.
I think you're probably right. Where maybe you have Quinyon outside in your base package, and then you slide him inside for nickel and bring Rodgers in. Now, the caller did make a good point, though. When we talk about red zone, you probably also have to mention third down as well, because as much as the defense struggled in terms of giving up a lot of yards, they were 31st in the league last year on third down, giving up 46% of the time. They held the Green Bay Packers to 27% third down efficiency. Red zone last year, they were 30th in the league, giving up 66% of the time touchdowns. They only allowed them to go 1 for 4, 25%. So that's big. If you could get off the field on third down and you could stop teams from scoring in the red zone, then I don't care about all the yards you're giving up. It's that bend but don't break mentality.
Okay, so let's before we get into the break, I want to. We've been teasing the apology from Shay Shay as we talked about the sexual exploits earlier in the hour, and how he mistakenly had his IG live.
You're putting mistakenly in quotes because Mike's not buying it.
Come on, man. Stop it. All right, so here's what he had to say.
I'm very disappointed in myself. Not for the act. I think there are millions and billions of people of consenting age that engage in activities, but to have your most intimate detail on the audio to be heard, I'm disappointed in myself.
He's right.
Not for the act, man, because I was great.
Yeah, but why should he apologize for the act? He shouldn't apologize for the act. He's right.
I rocked her world.
It sounded like it. It sounded like it. No, but I'm a fan of Shannon Sharpe. I just wish he didn't lie to begin with and say I was hacked. I'm glad he owned it less than 12 hours later.
I think it was a panic. When he said that, it's a panic because he's like, oh, my God, what did I do?
But you thought he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
That's why saying that.
I think he did it on purpose. Then, oh, my God, what did I do? And then realized that by people of the male persuasion.
He was getting a lot of
that they were going to give him the thumbs up. They were going to put a Bic lighter up in the air for him.
The funniest part of that video, though, are the live comments that are being made during it. Because if you go back and watch, you could see all the people who tuned in while it was live, and they're leaving live comments.
All right, we got to take a break. On the other side, in 1 o'clock hour, we're going to recap all the stuff that we talked about, obviously. But there's a new topic I want to talk about: how Joe Buck could break his wife's ankle with an errant T-ball.
I got a problem with this story.
I don't understand how this could happen, and we're going to try to get to the bottom of it. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. What you're saying?
Howie don't know defense.
Howie don't know defense.
It gets even worse. Look at the draft picks over the last few years. And I've gone through this list. You got to go all the way back to 2018 for the last time that Howie Roseman drafted a player that wasn't a defensive tackle that's had a huge impact. That would have been Josh Sweat. Every other season, they don't contribute. Now, maybe he got it right this year with Quinyon Mitchell. Did he get it right with Cooper DeJean? We'll find out. But you look at the history of Howie Roseman, there are far too many misses on the defensive side of the football.
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
Does this taint the Howie legacy? I mean, he's Howie hero in this town. I think you're kind of the only person that's brought up this whole little angle about his defensive miscues. So I'm wondering how Eagle fans feel about that. Then they're not going to feel that bad about it right now because it was one game. And this will take a while to sink in with Eagle fans that maybe he's not the greatest defensive drafter.
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grungo Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
1 o'clock hour of the Mike Missanelli Show is brought to you by Ferguson HVAC, Alliant Conklin, attention HVAC contractors. For equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job, visit one of Ferguson's counter locations, Ben Salem, King of Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester. Yes, our 1 o'clock argument was kind of a synopsis of how we started the show. And I predicted at the time when we went into this examination of Howie Roseman's kind of feeble record on drafting defensive players, I said at the time, no, nobody's going to latch on to that. Because right now, Howie rides high. And so we're not going to take inventory of maybe some mistakes he's made defensively. But it is interesting to look at this situation with Vic Fangio now not endorsing Huff as a defensive end. It was Howie's big get. And also Devin White, the linebacker. And the defensive coordinator has not endorsed either one of those so far. So what does that say? Does that say that we have to give a more critical look at Howie Roseman and his drafting of defensive players? My partner Bill here says yes. He really hasn't earned his stripes defensively, and maybe that's going to hurt the Eagles in the long run.
It's possible. Look, and I know it's only 1 week. And I'm not trying to overreact to just 1 week, but my concerns, and they've been there all summer, are, when you look at the history of Howie Roseman, he doesn't know how to build the defense. He just doesn't know how to do it. And he's got lucky in certain years. You go back to the Super Bowl season in 2017, he signs Chris Long to a 1-year deal. Worked out. They had Timmy Jerrigan's that year. They had Ronald Darby. They got late. Patrick Johnson, they got late. So sometimes, what does they say? A broken clock's right twice a day. But when you look at the overall history of him as a general manager, as good as he is in a lot of areas, and I think he's a very good general manager, he's not good when it comes to defense. It's not only drafting, it's free agents. People want to cite to, Reddick was a good signing. Darius Slay was a good pickup. But there's been a lot more misses, especially last year. And then you look at this season, was Devin White a miss? Was Bryce Huff a miss? Was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson a miss? We're going to see. I hope he stays healthy, but I didn't love his game the other night. So we'll see how it all plays out.
And he wasn't that great in Detroit either, to be honest with you. But I think that was like a catch-up type of thing. They regretted. They looked at it like it hurt them when they let him go. So maybe you get him back is to salvage it. I don't know how that's going to work out. But again, it's early on in the season. They've got the Atlanta Falcons, a team that they should beat at home. I did see some lines that were kind of weird that shrunk from 6.5 to 3.5. But I think in most areas it is still 6.5. The other issue we talked about, the Phillies win and sweep. And they've got the best record in the league. Now, it's amazing how everybody now feels a little sense of calm, right? Nobody is pushing any alarm buttons for the Philadelphia Phillies. They wound up sweeping a team, and they've had all kinds of injured players. So they're doing it with guys like Cal Stevenson and Weston Wilson and whoever else, Stubbsy. But there's this Ranger Suarez thing that lingers. But they have the best record in the league. They're the number 1 seed as we speak.
Well, when you say that the panic is kind of subsided, I think you're right when it comes to the seeding as it's going to pertain to the playoffs. But I feel like if Philly fans are being honest with themselves, do you really feel that confident, though, that the team wins the World Series? I mean, there's still a lot of question marks with this team as you hit the postseason. Not only Ranger Suarez, we don't know how Christopher Sanchez is going to perform in the playoffs. He's only pitched 2 innings in his entire career in the postseason. Who's your left fielder? Is Austin Hayes going to be okay? He had that, was it a kidney infection or a liver infection, whatever it was? But
let's look at him in relationship to the Dodgers right now. You think the Dodgers are better? Their pitching staff is a mess. The Phillies have one spot that we're looking at and going, yeah. But that's one spot. Like, they've got 3 reliable starters going right now. And their bullpen, if Alvarado comes back, their bullpen is, I think, fairly consistent bullpen. They've got guys in the right roles. Kerkering has succeeded in that role. Strom has been lights out. Hoffman has. If Alvarado comes back, and Estevez, I mean, I don't know. He looks like a guy who could blow a save in the playoffs. But for the most part, those 5 guys are reliable.
Yeah, the bullpen has looked great. I got to give you that. I mean, the bullpen looked great, especially in this Rays series. But with Alvarado coming back, Estevez makes me nervous sometimes, but the guy comes through. It's just, you look at that Dodgers team, though, and I know there's a lot of players on the baseball diamond, but Shohei Ohtani, man. I mean, he could carry that team himself in the postseason. He's going to be the first 50-50 player in Major League Baseball history. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. But, yes, you're correct. All these other teams have question marks as well. We focus on the Phillies, so that's the questions that we ask more than any. But can you trust Castellanos now? Because he's a guy I keep saying
I can't not trust him at this point.
I'm with you.
I didn't trust the man bun he tried to pull off last night, but I think I
didn't see it.
You didn't see that?
I did not see the man bun.
The hair's not long enough. He tried to put it in a little rubber band thing going on last night.
He's usually rocking the CP Rankin hat. That's usually his move.
In any event. So I'm okay there. All right, then let me move on to this. We talked about it briefly in the last hour. This is for everybody who's ever played golf. Now, Joe Buck's playing with his wife, Michelle Beisner, who's also on TV. A lot younger than he is. In any event.
You don't have a problem with that.
No. He hits a drive that somehow hits his wife in the ankle when she was doing a handstand. Now, can you ferret this thing? I'm reading the story, and the story goes, well, who hasn't hit somebody with a tee? I've never hit anybody on a tee box. How do you hit somebody on a tee box with a drive?
Well, I have a bigger problem with this whole story.
All right, so give me your interpretation here. What was happening here that he would actually hit her with a drive in the ankle when she's doing a handstand?
Well, yeah, I watched the video.
Oh, you did?
I watched. Well, there's no video of the actual swing. There's video of Joe Buck explaining what happened.
Okay.
And first and foremost for me, it's have some golf etiquette, man. Like, why is she doing a headstand and a split on a tee box at a nice golf course?
Okay. Is it possible that she was on the side trying to distract his drive by doing a handstand? In that case, how does he hit it sideways to hit her in the ankle? Unless she was in front of him doing a handstand, which is, I don't think that she would, that's totally dangerous.
Unless he was trying to hit it through and she was doing the split. I don't know what it was.
I possibly think that she would do a handstand in front of him and do it like a trick shot that he's going to hit a drive going a million miles an hour through her legs.
But look, either way, Mike, and you belong to a nice course. I get it that there's people who go to the golf course to get drunk and to party, and you may go to any course. When you're on a nice course, at a nice club, you have to have golf etiquette. Not only are you tucking in your shirts, you're doing things to respect the golf course. To me, doing a headstand, whatever the reason was, to distract them, to do whatever, doing a headstand and spreading your legs on the freaking tee box, to me, is a violation. You shouldn't be doing that at a nice golf resort or golf club.
Unless it was something else. And this whole story's been just made up.
They did have to explain this a lot.
I don't understand. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that somehow he hit a ball sideways when she was doing a handstand adjacent to him. Like,
But you don't have a problem with the handstand in and of itself? What are you doing that on a tee box for?
It's the lovers thing. Hey, I'm going to distract my husband and I do a handstand. I don't know. 610-632-0975. But there is a law case that I want to discuss with you involving something like that.
Oh, okay.
All right? That's coming up after this on 97.5 Fanatic. Joe Buck broke his. She's in the hospital and the whole bit broken ankle surgery for a golf ball accident. Have you ever been hit with a golf ball? Have you ever hit anybody with a golf ball?
Thankfully, I've never hit anybody. I did get hit in the shin by someone who hit their ball, wasn't a great shot, and then I start to walk to the green like you're supposed to do, and then without telling me, he decides to drop and hit a second shot just for practice. Hits me right in the damn shin.
Which
very apologetic.
Which leads me to the law case that I was going to bring up. I used to teach a class in sports law to undergrads at a couple of universities, including St. Joseph's. And so there's this case where the guys are playing. It's a foursome. And the last guy to hit hits a bad tee, and tee ball, and he decides to re-tee. Well, unbeknownst to the other people, there are two people get in their golf cart, and the golf cart comes kind of right in front of the tee box and weaves its way down the fairway. So they get in the golf cart thinking, okay, he hit a shot. Hey, he re-tees. Unbeknownst to anybody, he re-tees the ball, smashes a guy in the head with it. The guy's going by in a golf cart. Where's the liability?
Okay, this should not be...
Is it the guy who drives in front of the tee box, or is it the guy who re-tees?
Well, who got hit with the ball? The driver of the golf cart or the passenger?
Passenger.
Okay. Now, this should not be construed to form any sort of legal relationship between me and the listeners. However, now I would argue if that passenger of the golf cart came to me as their attorney, I'm suing both people. I'm suing the driver of the golf cart, and I would bring a lawsuit against the person who hit the ball because they're both negligent. Now, on a golf course, just simply hitting a bad shot, I don't think would raise to a level where you would have a claim against the guy who hit the bad shot. But in this case, because he re-teed, and also because the driver negligently drove in front of the tee box, I think you'd have a claim against both of them.
No.
That's what I would argue.
The ruling in the case, first of all, these are friends. So the guy who got hit sued his friend.
Well, he probably sued his homeowners insurance.
Well, whatever. There was a lawsuit here that a judgment had to be rendered. The guy who drove in front of the tee box was not considered negligent because it was not the normal course of action. There was no warning that the guy was going to re-tee. So the guy who hit the second shot was considered totally liable.
That makes sense. He probably would share the majority of the liability. But here's what people don't understand, because you said the guy had to sue his friend, right? Mm-hmm. When you file a lawsuit, most times you have to bring anyone that could even potentially be liable. So even though the guy didn't want to sue his friend, if you're going to file a lawsuit, you probably got to bring him in and let a judge decide, no, he's not. But people are probably already over our lawyer talk.
All right. Have you? No, but this is golfer talk too. Have you ever hit a ball OB that hit a car?
No, but it was close. It was close.
Okay, so discuss the liability. When you hit an errant shot and it borders a road and the ball's in the air, here comes the car, bang, windshield.
Now, my understanding is if you hit a car or even a house, because there's houses on golf courses, that the golfer who does that is responsible for the damage.
That is correct.
That is my understanding, yeah.
There you go.
So be careful out there.
Yes. All right, 610-632-0975. Let me just talk about Rock World for a second before we get to the phones. 2 rock stories. Actually, 3, if you're going to count the MTV Music Awards last night, where Taylor Swift professed her love again for Travis Kelce. This is getting sappy.
They love each other, Mike.
Let's talk about Rock World here. Did you see the story that involved John Bon Jovi?
Oh, where he saved the person in Nashville?
Yes.
I did see this.
John Bon Jovi is doing a photo shoot on a bridge in Nashville. He sees a woman who looks like she's on the edge of the bridge wanting to jump off to commit suicide.
And he saves her.
He goes over and saves her. Or he goes over and talks to her, talks her out of jumping, and then a couple people, including John, help her back over the railing.
It's a great story.
How about that?
That is a great story.
Now, here's the other rock story that's not so great. Dave Grohl, who we said yesterday dipping the pen somewhere it didn't belong, having a love child with somebody. The wife is out.
Oh, she's leaving him.
Out.
Wow. He was hoping that wasn't the case. He was saying he was trying to win back her trust.
Guess what?
She left him.
Sayonara. Now, here's the question I have for people. You marry into the rock world. It's like you marry into the mob, right? You marry into the mob, the guma is commonplace. You marry into the rock world, should it be commonplace?
I don't think so.
No?
Look, if she married Grohl and they were in love and she thought she could trust him and he violated that trust.
Allegations of cheating before in his first marriage. You move to the hazard. You know, that's another legal principle. You move to the hazard, right?
Now, was she involved in the ending of his first marriage?
Oh, you're asking if she was the mistress in the first one.
I don't think so.
Okay. There was still, though, obviously with the public figure, she knew there was problems there. I mean, I don't know the intimate details of their relationship.
She moved to the hazard. It's like you move next to a train station, then you complain about the train rumbling past your window.
There's room for growth for people, but you have to be aware that this is something that has been a problem his in the past.
You're both
He's
correct
wrong in this scenario.
You're both correct that maybe she should be aware of it, but once he does it to her, I'm okay with her saying, you know what, I'm out.
Oh, yeah, no, she could say she's out. I'm just saying that I don't know how shocked you are at the rock star that had infidelity problems before having them again.
How about it? Good for her. She ain't taking no crap from David Grohl.
Except it's money.
How about if you're a pregnant wife and you find out your husband has cheated with a porn star? How about that?
Wait, who did that? Who did that? Refresh my memory.
Who did that?
Didn't that happen to somebody?
No. No.
What do you mean, who did that? What do you mean? This is just a glancing blow that I threw out there. Who did that?
Didn't somebody do that?
Yes, somebody did it. That's why I said it.
Oh. Jeez. Here am I.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Here you go. This
I'm,
is 21st century,
I'm oblivious here. All right. Next topic.
There it is.
Next topic.
The ADD kicked in, right?
No, that wasn't ADD. That was just a lapse in.
That was a Stunad moment.
That was a Stunad moment right there. Very Stunad.
All right, so let me just see if I can get some details on this Foo Fighter thing. Dave Grohl's wife, Jordan Blum, ditches wedding ring amidst his baby cheating mess. That's what the story says.
What's her name?
Her name is Blum. Jordan Blum. B-L-U-M.
Just going to look her up.
Now, is she ditching the wedding ring for a little eye for eye here? You know? Well, right now I don't have the wedding ring. I'm going to act like I'm not married.
Listen, I don't know what's going on. It says a source told People that Grohl had retained a divorce lawyer before he released his statement. So he made the statement, gets a lawyer, and then releases the statement to get ahead of the story?
Wow, they were married for 20 years. They've been together for over 20 years.
They've got 3 kids. 4 kids. No, 3 kids. They've got 3 kids.
Do we know who the mistress is?
Has not been identified yet. All right. 610-632-0975 is how you get in if you want to climb in. We're back after this. Show 97.5 The Fanatic. A little Soundgarden action. Very nice.
Black Hole Sun.
Yes. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. All right, just one last music type of thing because I got to put this out. Ray, we're going to have to get a romantic music backdrop when I mention the Tay-Tay situation. But she got up there last night, and of course, she got another award. And she also gave a moving tribute to at the 9/11. So that was all good. She did a collaboration song called Fortnite with Post Malone. So they got an award for that. So she thanked then her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, for his encouragement while on set for the project. Quote, there we go. Everything this man touches turns to happiness and fun and magic. Oh, this is going to be a hard fall, brother.
You know what's frustrating?
Bill goes, well, maybe they're really in love.
Maybe they are.
Maybe they're really in love.
What's frustrating, though, is she plagiarized that exact quote from what I said about you the other day. That everything you touch, Mike, turns to happiness
and fun and magic. I'm just that type of guy.
But maybe they are in love, Mike. We don't have to be so.
Maybe they. I know she is, and I see she's laying on this. She's putting extra syrup on the pancakes, right? And I don't know, my man. I'm thinking about my man might get tired.
You think it was he saw opportunity
of the maintenance? He might get tired of the maintenance. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to offend the Swifties because they're very important in this country. She made an endorsement, and 300,000 people signed up to vote. So,
well, just look at what happened to his Instagram the day it was announced that Travis and Taylor were dating. I think he picked up like 1 million new followers or something.
Well, here's what I think. If it goes sour, he's going to be shrapnel in a song.
There always are songs, right?
An album. Forget a song.
Yeah, he's going to be shrapnel. My man. Now,
and not just him. I think Mahomes, Andy Reid, a lot of people catching strays if this one ends up not working.
And another happy couple at the Music Awards last night, Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom. I'm a big Katy Perry fan.
That performance was...
Yeah, I'm a fan.
That was a nice...
Katy.
Yeah, Katy. And who was she with? Who was the other woman on stage with her? Katy Perry did a performance last night.
Did she do it with her daughter?
No.
No? I don't know who she did it with.
Ray, answer me that. I only saw the highlights on Twitter.
Yeah, I didn't see really anything from it. I was at the game last night.
Ray was preparing for his quizzo. Ray, I thought your quizzo was last night.
No, next Wednesday.
He had a tweet about he's hosting a quizzo thing next Wednesday. So do you know who Chapel Roan is? I don't know who she is. I'm sorry. Am I out of the loop here?
She's had quite the summer, Mike.
She has?
Yes.
Where is she from? We know. How come I don't know anything about her? She came out last night dressed in armor, a suit of armor, channeling the warrior energy of Joan of Arc, and she had a fiery performance of her song "Good Luck, Babe." But let me hear her because her original hit is "Hot to Go," right? There we go. You know this song?
I don't.
You know Chapel Roan?
Oh, see, if you were in the bar scene right now, there's a dance that goes with this. Very, very popular.
See, Ray's plugged in.
Is this the same woman who sang, "If I Die Young, Bury Me"? That's not her. Okay.
She's new.
She's new.
Yeah, she's new here. This is a new song.
Well, apparently she was on fire last night performing another song in a suit of armor. All right. We keep up.
It sounds like
keep up here.
It sounds like an
I'm
80s
107
song.
years old. I keep up.
Let's keep.
We'll teach you the dance. Then you'll really start to go.
I don't think I'm doing a dance.
No, the hot to go dance.
So Ray is always out and about. And how about this? One of our loyal YouTube followers, Voodrew, who always checks in on the YouTube chat, says he met Ray Dunn last night at the Phillies game and said, dude is built like a linebacker. And then somebody else said, you must have met Bill, and he told you he was Ray.
Yeah, I don't think Ray's
football
built like a linebacker.
I think Voudrew was being sarcastic.
Okay.
It was great to see Voudrew, though. I was
there you go.
working my way through the crowd to get out of there.
Meeting the people.
And MBD's always got his wisecrack comments for Ray.
Thought I almost got through a day clean.
Well, earlier in the show, I just ignored it. He had a couple of things.
Thanks.
One, he said you looked like Peter Pan's little brother. The other one was you looked like a janitor at Hogwarts.
Oh, come on.
And then he also said you are the Irish Chewbacca.
Just say you want me to shave, MBD,
I love this shtick with this guy.
MBD is a legend.
Yeah, he is a legend. Let's go to Ken in Lewistown. Ken, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Lewistown, huh?
Yeah, Lewistown. Good
Ah.
afternoon, fellas. How's everybody doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a long night, man. Long haul trucker. I just left Philadelphia a couple hours ago.
Oh, okay. So you're traveling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm there twice a week. I go into Philly, right beside the sports complex. I love it.
Lewistown, the home of Bucknell University, of course, en route to Penn State. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So, anyhow, I called you last Friday with the score prediction thing when you were asking for score predictions, and I guessed 34-28.
No, you did.
Wow.
You did.
I was the one that said Trotter was gonna.
Yeah.
The one that made the play.
You know what? Yeah, he didn't make the play, but you were close enough to get a prize. We're going to give you Temple football tickets.
Oh, wow.
No. We'll have to get you something.
Does he have FanFest tickets yet?
You want to come to FanFest, Ken?
I got 6 tickets already.
Oh, all right. I'll tell you what. Email me, and we'll try to give you some prize from our prize closet. My email now working for the people. We tested it today. MikeMiss@bbgi.com.
MikeMiss@bbgi.com.
bbgi.com.
Roger that. I got you.
All right, buddy.
All right. So I like. You want to take another prediction from me?
Yeah, go ahead. What do you're on a roll. Go.
All right. I think they're gonna dominate this game. The whole Nick Foles thing. I think their energy. I think this whole team is just gonna steadily get better. Like I said before, and I think we're gonna dominate. I wouldn't even be surprised if you don't see Cousins finish this game and see Penix in.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's going to be 37-17 Philly.
Wow. Let me ask you a question, Ken. Are you from Pittsburgh area?
No, sir. I'm born and raised from Lewistown.
Oh, in Lewistown, do they speak like you're from Pittsburgh? Because you went dominate. That's a Pittsburgh thing.
Yeah, it's a split. We're right in the middle.
All right. I knew it. I get that dialect in my ear.
Yeah. It's a split. But my father was a Steelers fan growing up. And so I watched them.
A Steelers fan.
Yeah, he was a Steelers fan.
Steelers.
But I just whenever we got Randall Cunningham, I think it was either an overtime game. It was against Dallas. I was so young. I was like maybe 7 or 8 years old, and I was out passing football with my cousin in the yard, and his dad came out. My uncle, he come out and he said, "Hey, Cunningham just completed a 4th and something to Mike Quick." And they ended up pulling that off against Dallas before that came out. And ever since then, I was hooked.
Wow. Good for you, man. Listen, you be safe on the road. And email me, and we'll see if we can get you a prize there.
Yeah, I thought of him, actually, when we were watching the game. I remembered somebody was close, so it was our man Ken.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
From Lewistown.
Can't get any closer. That's interesting. Lewistown, they get the Pittsburgh accent. I never noticed that part of it. But if you go to Tuna,
where I went
out that way.
Where I went to college in Gettysburg, they talk a little bit like that too. They have some different expressions.
They don't have consonant pronunciation. like an OUN,
You know what they say a lot at Gettysburg? I don't know if I'm going to explain this well or not, but how we would say, Bryce Huff is still the starter, right? You will use the word still. They would say
Stillers.
Bryce Huff's the starter yet.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. It's weird. Its dialect is weird all throughout Pennsylvania. It really is.
Well, it's a different world when you get outside.
It's totally a different world. A lot of people don't understand. They think it's just Philly and Pittsburgh. There's a lot more to it than that. Let's go to Rich in Easton. Rich, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Rich?
I love your analogy. When you marry into the hazard, you could expect to be cheated on. I love it.
Yeah, that's the truth. You get married to the hazard. You move into the hazard. Like these homeowners, they move into a hazard. right? They move where there's like they move where there's a like a trash pit, like a dump site, and they go, hey, dump site. It's a health hazard. Well, you move there.
Thank goodness somebody else noticed how annoying it is. Every other sentence out of Sirianni's mouth is right.
Yeah.
Right?
But I tell you, I was charmed by him today because he tried to be nice and answer questions that were bad questions.
I knew you would be charmed.
Yeah, I'm charmed.
And by the way, do not take the bread after you're done the meal. I like that.
Why? Why?
Because
Why do you agree with him on this?
Just leave it. Leave
It's
it.
gauche.
Why? They're going to throw it in the trash.
It's cheap.
That's okay.
Cheap
Just
ass.
leave it.
Like you need bread.
Just leave it. Anyway, so Mike, your producer has a little bit of a disagreement with me. I'm watching Hurts back into the pocket, and it looks like to me his eyes are going down, not perusing the secondary and looking for a second or third receiver. It looks like he's already perusing his running lanes, and I think that's hard. That's a hard quarterback to block for. Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing that. I got to be honest with you. I'm not seeing that. I don't think he's looking to run nearly as much as he was before.
Now, I heard Joel say that the other day, and I said, I'm seeing the same thing, but
really?
Maybe we're all
Joel said that?
Different things.
I don't know. Did you get that impression that he was doing that, Bill?
There's times where he does it, but I didn't
he's
think
trying
it
to
was,
hang in a lot more than he used to.
This is why, and you and I have talked about this. This is why I feel better about Jalen Hurts after week 1 than you do, because the turnovers that you saw were bad decisions late in a play. It wasn't as if he had the wrong read or his eyes were down and didn't see a guy. It's just he decided to do certain things that you just shouldn't do, like throw the ball over the middle when there's 3 guys around, or roll to your right and throw across your body. Outside of those turnovers, and I know they're big. You're not going to win a lot of games losing their turnover battle. They put up over 400 yards of offense. They scored over 30 points. They had over 260 passing yards. That was the 6th best in the entire NFL last week. So I think maybe we're being a little hard on Jalen after only 1 week. When you look at it, no preseason, and he comes in and they put up 34 points and over 400 yards of offense. That's pretty damn good, especially when it mattered most on that last drive. So
I don't know. I'm right in the middle because he did enough good things in that game to the point where I probably shouldn't be obsessed with the fact that he made those 2 bad throws. But I'm so programmed. His turnover rate of last year, I'm so programmed to need an improvement on that he tweaked me right away.
He should be tweaked.
He lit a match under my butt early on in that game.
But like I said, those should be easily fixed. If this continues over the next few weeks, then I'm going to be concerned. But those decisions, it wasn't as if he got fooled by the defense. Like, to me, that would have been more concerning. Oh, they didn't have answers for the blitz, and he threw it up for grabs. Or, wow, they really confused him with that coverage. That wasn't what you saw. You just saw him make some bad decisions that hopefully they get in his ear and say, hey, the hero ball, that's enough. You had these issues last year. There's no need. Throw it out of bounds and kick the field goal. So I think it's an easier fix than if, man, he had no answers for the blitz, or they disguised coverages on him and he threw into a robber that picked it off and took it the other way. You didn't have to deal with that. We'll find out on Monday.
Yes, we will. All right, so it is time for closing arguments.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenthalAbrams.com.
All right. There are many areas that I could go in for my closing argument. I could go strictly sports and the topics we're talking about today, with the Phillies now in a really good spot as the number 1 seed, and they swept the series. They get a needed night off, and they have the best record in the league, and all these injured players are going to be coming back soon, and we have just minor worries. Well, Ranger Suarez is not a minor worry, but Bryce Harper with the sore wrist, he tweaked it again last night. I could go there, or I could go into one of the main topics we talked about today, which was Howie Roseman and his ability to draft defensive players, and the fact that his 2 main acquisitions are probably not held in great favor by the defensive coordinator, and that'll manifest itself way down the road. But today I'm going to go more frivolous. I'm going to talk to the people who, for some reason, ignore our poor souls out there who don't like eggs. Now, I am telling you, I've never been more serious about this, and I'm going directly to the people who deliver food here in the morning to John Kincade and Andrew Salciunas. Throw in a non-egg sandwich, for crying out loud, and especially to the people at Wawa. You know, I like to go in Wawa and grab something quick. I don't want my time, my breakfast time, to be eaten up by the fact that I got to go over to the screen, I got to order a bagel with this and that. I want a sandwich that's right at the counter that doesn't have egg. Okay? It's not a sin to produce a sausage and cheese or a pork roll and cheese breakfast sandwich and leave it up there that says on it, no egg. At McDonald's, I can order a sausage McMuffin with no egg, and they give me a sausage McMuffin with no egg. For some reason, we are not considered people who don't like eggs. Everybody has to have a freaking egg in the morning. I don't like eggs. I don't like the smell of them. It reminds me of smelling a chicken's butt. So I want my breakfast sandwiches without egg. I think I've lived long enough and accomplished enough in this world to be able to go into a place and grab a sandwich without egg. That's my closing argument today. I know it was full of intellectualism, but that's all I got for today, Bill.
You and I have disagreed on many things over our first month together, and this is just another one. A breakfast sandwich should always have an egg, and you should have to specially request otherwise, is how I feel about it.
And don't give me, well, just take the egg off, Mike. A, it's melded on. B, even if I take it off, the sausage and cheese now have egg taint. And I don't want to deal with it. And I don't think I should have to deal with it.
You should have to make special requests.
We are people, too, the non-egg people. So please, throw us a bone in life, okay? Also, today is our official 1-month-old anniversary.
Is they are 1 month?
Yeah, so for the people that have been listening to the show, like I say, I always take inventory of the show. How are we doing? What are the things you like? What are the things you don't like? I now have an email address that gets through. MikeMiss@bbgi.com. Or you can send it to Bill. Bill, you got your own email address here, right? Bill.Colarulo.
It's actually William.
Oh, it's William.Colarulo
at BBGI.
And Raymond.Dunn, D-U-N-N-E.
There's an E on it.
At bbgi.com. So tell us how you feel. We're 1 month in now. So hopefully people are enjoying the show. And please tell your friends and neighbors to tune in.
All right, before we to Tyrone and Ricky, we got a game tonight. There's an NFL game.
There is an NFL game.
You like this? So the Bills are getting 2.5 in Miami tonight. Over is 48.5.
Well, that's a Miami line to me.
You know what? Yeah, because I look at this and I'm thinking, yeah, the Bills, they're going to probably win this game. What are they getting 2.5 for?
Yep.
So maybe you go against
the Miami line to me. I'm going to actually play it.
You're taking the Dolphins?
I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Even though you make a lot of sense when you say that, to look at the line, and this probably is a Miami line, I think Buffalo wins this game. I'm going with the Bills. I'm taking the Bills money line.
The highly valued Buffalo Bills who are getting points.
I'm actually gonna take the money line. I'm gonna go plus 122 on the money line.
All right. That's it for today. Stay tuned. Tyrone and Ricky up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate it. And tomorrow we'll have an Atlanta Falcon beat writer on who knows very well our own John Kincade.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
So we'll get the lowdown on the Falcons
from
tomorrow.
the Falcons. That's
All
correct.
Right. Take care, everybody. Good night.